Chapter 83. After a few words of greeting, Sinister Sparrow cleared his throat and asked a question that all the old experts were concerned about. Ahem. Elder Ning, I think you know that all of us are doubtful about your contribution points. I don't know if it's convenient for you to explain to us what you did in Demon Sinister Forest and how did you get to 15 million contribution points. Of course, if it's inconvenient for you to explain or there's something that's hard to say, I'm here. No one will be able to force you to tell us if you don't want to. Ning Fan's eyes moved. This question was unavoidable. Just like Wang Yao, who obtained 30,000 contribution points in a day, he was also questioned by many elders. And Wang Yao's answer was as follows. Before I entered the Demon Sinister Forest, I was at the 10th level of vein opening. In the forest, I accidentally felt the bottleneck of Harmonious Spirit Realm and spent a month to break through. After that, I swept through the first and second regions in a day. This answer was accepted by the elders after Wang Yao displayed his early Harmonious Spirit magical power. As for Wang Yao, he had already become a deacon disciple. It was only a matter of time before he was promoted to a Harmonious Spirit Elder. However, it wouldn't be easy for Ning Fan to fool them. After all, he was only a late Harmonious Spirit expert. It was acceptable for him to sweep through Harmonious Spirit ghosts, but no one would believe that a late Harmonious Spirit expert could kill nearly 1,000 gold core ghosts. He couldn't possibly tell them about the Divine Art Chant, Mei Qin, Bone Sovereign and so on. So, he had to fabricate a lie. I poisoned them and killed a lot of gold core old devils. Ning Fan's tone wasn't fake at all. It was extremely serious. What? Poison? What kind of poison could kill 1,000 gold core old devils? Upon hearing Ning Fan's words, all the old experts felt a chill down their spine. It was true that with Ning Fan's late Harmonious Spirit cultivation, it was hard for them to accept that he killed so many ghosts with his own strength. But if it was poison, as long as the level of the poison was high enough, not to mention gold core experts, even nascent soul and spirit severing experts could be poisoned to death. The hearts of the experts shuddered. In an instant, they thought of something. Ning Fan was the great-grandson of a 4th Revolution Dan Master, Black Devil Ning. Could it be that Black Devil Ning had given him a powerful poison pill? I wonder what kind of poison little friend Ning used. An old monster asked with a fearful tone. It's a pill called Yama Pill. And it seems to be a 5th Revolution poison pill? Ning Fan said in an uncertain tone. What? 5th Revolution poison pill? King Yama's pill? Most of the experts present had heard of the King Yenwang pill before. This pill needed to be refined with the poison pills of 99 nascent soul-level poisonous beasts. The toxicity of one pill was enough to poison a nascent soul-level master to death. If Ning Fans really had this pill, it wouldn't be difficult to poison 1,000 gold core old devils to death. However, only spirit-severing old monsters were qualified to use 5th Revolution pills. Even if Ning Fan's great-grandfather was Black Devil Ning, it did not seem like he should have such a pill. Ning Fan added as if he had seen through their doubtful expressions. That pill was given to me by my old ancestor, Black Devil Ning's master. There's only one pill. My old ancestor was worried that I might encounter danger in Demon Sinister Forest, so he gave it to me. Ning Fan's tone was extremely indifferent, but all the old monsters present could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. What? The 5th Revolution Dan was given by Black Devil Ning's master. Black Devil Ning had a master? Could it be that he was a 5th Revolution Dan master from some high-rank cultivation country? But after thinking about it, all the unreasonable things became reasonable. A high-rank Dan master must have a master. Since Black Devil Ning was a 4th Revolution Dan master, it was reasonable for him to have a 5th Revolution Dan master as his master. However, if this news was spread out, no one would dare to plot against Ning City anymore. If Black Devil Ning was alone without any background, there would still be people who would plot against him in the dark despite being a 4th Revolution Dan master. However, if Black Devil Ning had a mysterious 5th Revolution master, perhaps no one in Yu Country would dare to offend Ning City anymore. Ning Fan's lie was not only to clear himself of suspicion, but also to fabricate a background for Ning City to deter these old monsters. The old monsters no longer suspected that Ning Fan had killed 1,000 gold core experts, but each of them had a complicated expression on their faces. The dignified 5th Revolution Yama pill was a powerful pill that could poison a peak nascent soul expert to death. However, Ning Fan had used it to deal with mere gold core ghosts. It was simply too wasteful. If I have a Yama pill, I will certainly use it to dominate you country, many of the old monsters thought to themselves. However, it was also good that it was wasted. If this pill was kept, it would be a great threat to countless old monsters. If Black Devil Ning had the Yama pill, he could kill all the experts in you country with ease. No one would be able to stop him. Purple Een Old Monster, Great Void Old Ancestor, all of them would be poisoned to death by a single pill. However, it was also possible that Black Devil Ning had a second Yama pill. If that was the case, then Ning City must not be offended. The expressions of the old monsters were different. The only thing they could be sure of was that Ning Fan's lie was believed by all of them. Moreover, no one would dare to deal with Ning Fan unless they were fools. However, in this way, the fear that many of the old monsters had towards Ning Fan had lessened. Ning Fan didn't have the strength to kill gold core old monsters. However, it was highly possible that Ning Fan could defeat all harmonious spirit experts and become the #1 expert below the gold core realm. A late harmonious spirit expert at the age of 17 was indeed worthy of being the #1 expert below the gold core realm in you country. After listening to Ning Fan's explanation, all the old monsters felt relieved and returned with satisfaction. After that, they discussed the Dao with Suchio Shinzi, Sinister Sparrow, and other peak gold core experts. Many of them gained some enlightenment. In this way, it ended in a situation where everyone was happy. The only one who sneered at Ning Fan's answer was GMO of Extreme Een Gate. His face didn't change, but in his heart, he was sneering at Ning Fan's explanation. Last time when he returned to Extreme Een Gate and reported Ning Fan's matter to the old ancestor, Purple Een Old Monster suspected that Ning Fan had kidnapped Bing Ling and Yu Ling and paid a huge price to buy a divination from the old man of Wu country. The divination was naturally about the real culprit who captured the two girls. That old man was an early nascent soul expert. He was known as the divine fortune teller, so he was naturally proficient in divination. However, he had the habit of charging 1,000 jades for each divination. He would charge at least 10,000 immortal jades for each divination. Purple Een Old Monster went to Wu country and spent 10,000 immortal jades to divine Ning Fan's matter. The result of this divination was completely out of his expectation. Just as he expected, Bing Ling and Yu Ling were kidnapped by Ning Fan. Apart from Bing Ling and Yu Ling, the other 15 cauldrons had been plucked by Ning Fan. This matter made him furious. He almost wanted to kill Sinister Sparrow sect and eliminate Ning Fan even if he had to risk offending Black Devil Ning. However, the thing that surprised him the most was not the fact that Ning Fan had kidnapped the two ladies. Instead, it was something else. Ning Fan was Black Devil Ning. What a good Ning Fan. The whole Yu country has been deceived by this brat. Black Devil Ning, a 4th Revolution Dan Master, but only a harmonious spirit expert. Good. Purple Een Old Monster immediately sent Old Monster GMO to investigate Ning Fan's background. This time, Old Monster GMO came to confirm one thing. Was Ning Fan a harmonious spirit cultivator? The results surprised and delighted GMO at the same time. He was surprised that Ning Fan had broken through to the late harmonious spirit realm in just 1 month in the Demon Sinister Forest. He was delighted that Ning Fan was really only a harmonious spirit expert. As for the Yama pill and the 5th Revolution Dan Master, GMO couldn't believe that Ning Fan was Black Devil Ning. There was only one thought in his mind, and that was to report this matter to Purple Een. Once he reported this matter, Purple Een would be more than happy to wipe out Ning City and kidnap Ning Fan, making Ning Fan his personal Dan Master. Ning Fan naturally didn't know all these. He had no idea that by fating an Old Monster GMO were already plotting against him in the Long Leaning Palace even though he had not done anything. The former was nothing to worry about, but the latter would put Ji He and the others in danger if they weren't careful. Moreover, there was also Wang Yao in Sinister Sparrow sect who was plotting against Ning Fan in the dark. At noon, after the spirit fruit banquet in the hall, the old monsters bid farewell and left one after another. Sinister Sparrow heaved a sigh of relief after all the old monsters left. He didn't dare to be careless in front of so many old monsters. However, before he could rest, Revered White's by fading came again. After the people of the outer sect left, only the elders of Sinister Sparrow sect were left in the palace. By fading blocked Ning Fan's way. Elder Ning, I am by fading. I want to have a bet with you. We're betting on the supreme grade magical treasure in your storage pouch. His words set off a small wave among the elders of Sinister Sparrow sect. They didn't know that Ning Fan had a supreme grade magical treasure. Only nascent soul old monsters were qualified to use a supreme grade magical treasure. However, when they recalled that Ning Fan had the 5th Revolution Yama pill, it wasn't strange for him to have a supreme grade magical treasure. As a matter of fact, Ning Fan himself was the most curious about this bet. How did by fading know that I have a supreme grade magical treasure? Ning Fan was slightly startled. He did have a supreme grade magical treasure, the Eastern Ocean Bell, but by fading shouldn't know about it. What made Ning Fan feel strange was that this was the first time he met by fading. Why did this old thing have such hostility towards him? Could it be that this old thing has taken the wrong medicine? He cursed inwardly. At this time, Lan Mei said in a low voice, Ning Fan, Revered White and your master alchemist Han have always been at odds. He must be venting his anger on you. You mustn't agree to this bet. You are a harmonious spirit cultivator while he is a gold core cultivator. This bet isn't fair. I see. He can't defeat my master, so he's venting his anger on me. The corner of Ning Fan's mouth curved into a cold smile. His eyes were like lightning as he stared at by fading. His chi suddenly rose. His master's enemy was also his enemy. He patted his storage pouch. He didn't take out the Eastern Ocean Bell, but he did release a trace of the magical treasure's chi. A supreme grade magical treasure. It was indeed a supreme grade magical treasure. The current Ning Fan wasn't afraid of revealing his supreme grade magical treasure in Yu Country. There weren't many people who could snatch the treasure from his hands. Besides, he reckoned that no one would dare to attack him with Black Devil Ning's reputation. As soon as the chi of the supreme grade magical treasure was released, By Fading's face turned fiery. He was secretly delighted. He was delighted because he had guessed that Ning Fan possessed a supreme grade magical treasure by accident. This old man will bet this treasure with you. I will use my natal magical treasure, the Myriad Soul Streamer. By Fading patted his storage pouch and took out a high-grade mid-grade soul streamer that was shrouded in black mist. This treasure was extraordinary, but it wasn't worth mentioning compared to a supreme-grade magical treasure. Ning Fan looked at By Fading mockingly and sneered. Is Revered White trying to use a high-grade mid-grade magical treasure to exchange for my supreme-grade magical treasure? Don't you think it's shameless to exchange a small treasure for a big one? What? How dare you say that I'm shameless? An intermediate gold core old man making a bet with a late harmonious spirit junior. Isn't that shameless? Using a small treasure for a big one? Isn't that shameless? But don't worry, I will accept your challenge. I won't bet on your soul streamer. It's just a high-grade mid-grade treasure. The only thing I like about you is the title of the 4 revered devils. How about it? Are you willing to use the title of Revered White to bet with me? What? This kid wants my title of Revered White. By Fading was slightly stunned, but then he sneered. He didn't think that an intermediate gold core cultivator like him would lose to a harmonious spirit junior. Although he had offended Black Devil Ning by betting with Ning Fan, this was the tradition of Sinister Sparrow sect. He had to follow the rules. Even if Black Devil Ning was dissatisfied, he couldn't voice it out. If you win, I will give you my title of Revered White. How about that? But if you lose, your supreme grade magical treasure will belong to me. But as compensation, I will give you 10,000 immortal jades. How about that? 10,000 immortal jades couldn't buy a supreme grade magical treasure, not even a strand of hair. But By Fading's action could be considered as giving Black Devil Ning some face. Alright, but I hope that this battle will be postponed for half a year. Half a year? Alright, I will give you half a year. Bai Fading agreed without hesitation, fearing that Ning Fan would go back on his words. Half a year was just the time for a harmonious spirit gold core old expert to go into seclusion. He didn't think that Ning Fan could achieve much in half a year. The reason why Ning Fan wanted to postpone the battle for 100 years was to further enhance his strength. He didn't want to use his trump cards, but his true strength to suppress Bai Fading. For this, he needed to go into seclusion for a long time. For this, he needed to make a lot of preparations. Chapter 84. The news of the duel between Ning Fan and Revered Bai spread like wildfire in Sinister Sparrow sect. Ning Fan was a proud son of heaven. Revered White was an expert of the older generation. The battle between the two was full of highlights. Even though the elders regarded Ning Fan highly, few of them believed that Ning Fan could defeat Revered Bai. However, when the young disciples saw Ning Fan, they treated him as their idol and firmly believed that Ning Fan could defeat Revered Bai. Young people like to believe in miracles. Ever since the news spread out, all the disciples of Sinister Sparrow sect who met Ning Fan along the way respectfully saluted him. Their eyes were burning with admiration. However, Ning Fan did not care about these things at all. After half a year of seclusion, not only did Ning Fan decide to break through to the peak of Harmonious Spirit Realm, but he was also prepared to break through to the False Core Realm in one go. For such a long period of seclusion, he definitely needed to make a lot of preparations. First preparation, alchemy. Breaking through to the peak Harmonious Spirit Realm or even the False Core Realm would require a large amount of consolidating spirit pills. In order to enhance the strength of the three god armies and enhance the strength of Ning City, he also needed the vein opening pill. Currently, what Ning City lacked the most was experts. Si Wuxia's strength seemed to be able to improve. With Ning Fan's peak gold core spirit sense, the spirit puppet seal that was planted by Ning Fan was not something that Si Wuxia could break, even if she had broken through to the nascent soul realm. Ning Fan needed to concoct a peak third revolution pill for Si Wuxia, purple golden pill. The effect was to raise a golden core late-stage cultivator by a small realm. Of course, there was a chance of success, but even if he failed, he could still strengthen his spiritual energy and lay the foundation for his next breakthrough. Lu Nanzi, Nanyang Zi. Ning Fan no longer put their cultivation base in his eyes, but these two old men had quite a good network in Yu Country. The former had been operating in the Yu Country for many years, and the Lu clan's reputation was not weak. Their trade routes were prosperous, so he could be entrusted with some matters such as gathering spiritual herbs and immortal ores. The latter was also a guest elder of the Great Void sect. If Ning Fan wanted to take advantage of both the underworld and the underworld, it was necessary to make good use of Nanyang Zi. Nangong, Situ, and Yuchi were the three that Ning Fan's attention the most. Nangong's strategy, decisiveness and thoroughness were enough to make Ning Fan feel at ease leaving Ning City in his care. Moreover, Nangong seemed to be a dual cultivator of ice and lightning. His lightning spirit energy had reached the early gold core realm while his ice spirit energy had reached the intermediate harmonious spirit realm. Although Nangong's lightning vein was destroyed, he had a way to reconstruct it, although the process would be extremely painful. Once he succeeded, Nangong would be a heavenly spirit cultivator with the ice and thunder veins. However, the attribute of his immortal vein was a grade higher than Ning Fan, who cultivated both ice and fire. Nangong was resourceful and had the aptitude to take on great responsibilities. Once he was nurtured, he would be a great help to Ning Fan. As for Situ, this person wholeheartedly cultivated the sword. He was extremely devoted to his heart and sword. He had the heart of an expert that even Ning Fans felt ashamed of being inferior to. However, what he lacked was the guidance of a great teacher. With Ning Fan's guidance and the tempering in the blood sea, this person could become an outstanding cultivator in the Tao of Sword. As for Yuchi, this weirdo, Ning Fan could only chuckle. However, being a weirdo also had its advantages. Normal people would not mate with pigs, but this guy did. Perhaps, among the three of them, the one whose cultivation rose the fastest would be this weirdo. Although it was a little disgusting, in the future, when Yuchi's little pig forms its gold core and transforms into a woman, It would probably be considered as his cultivation having succeeded. Yuchi. This person is simple and honest but loyal. Moreover, he has cultivated the heaven-defying human-pig mating technique. His future is simply boundless. The next time he returned, Ning Fan would not only give the three of them a huge boost in strength, he would also bestow them Jade Royal Dan. He didn't dare to give this Dan to his beloved woman because it was too violent and not something an ordinary person could endure. However, Ning Fan believed that the three of them would be able to take the first Jade Royal Dan given their temperament. Since 7 Apricot City had Jade Royal Grass and Coiling Evil Grass, there must be other places in the Rain Immortal world that had them. He wanted Nangong to secretly purchase these herbs. What Ning Fan needed was time. If he was given a few hundred years, he was confident that the 3 black demon armies would be strong enough to sweep across the Rain Immortal world and even void fragmentation experts. Unfortunately, what I lack the most is time. 100 years is too fast. Emperor. Thinking of Moksha Emperor, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a cold light and he clenched his fists. Apart from concocting pills, Ning Fan also needed other preparations. For example, the cultivation technique and the devouring of the black demon flame. However, these should be completed during seclusion. As for the black Yin Chi, he would find a chance to ask Sinister Sparrow for it. Sinister Sparrow was his father-in-law in name, so he shouldn't be so stingy, Ning Fan pondered along the way. After leaving Long Inclination Hall, he went straight to the Inner Sex Merit Hall. Naturally, he wanted to exchange all 15 million contribution points for cash. I wonder if there are any good things in the Merit Hall that can tempt me. Ning Fan was slightly looking forward to it. After the disturbance caused by Ning Fan's contribution points, the Merit Hall finally calmed down. The elder who was in charge of the Merit Hall, Meng Chu, heaved a sigh of relief. He knew that there was no problem with Ning Fan's merit points and that he only poisoned the Gold Core Ghost. To him, this was the best news. He didn't need to bear the responsibility of damaging the merit steel. It was already afternoon. At this time, most of the disciples had already had their lunch and were meditating in seclusion. The merit hall was also deserted. Meng Chu was leisurely sitting on the Rot 10 rocking chair, tasting the spiritual tea and humming a tune. He liked this kind of leisurely life. What do cultivators cultivate for? Longevity? What is longevity for? For happiness. Why, Meng Chu, am happy now, why would I need longevity? Meng Chu's temperament was open-minded. Ordinary cultivators couldn't understand his state of mind, but those experts with profound cultivation like Sinister Sparrow admired Meng Chu very much. After listening to Meng Chu's soliloquy, a chuckle came from outside the Merit Hall. Elder Meng's words are wrong. Temporary happiness must be guaranteed by strength. In this world, without strength, a temporary happiness will easily attract jealousy and be taken away by others. The voice was extremely young, but the tone was old and wise. His words refuted Meng Chu's opinion. Meng Chu put down the teacup with a displeased expression. He thought that it was another vein-opening disciple who didn't understand the depth of his cultivation and casually criticized him. These words seemed to be reasonable, but Meng Chu was still an elder. Being refuted by a disciple was a disgrace to him. But when he saw the appearance of the person, Meng Chu didn't dare to be displeased anymore. Instead, he immediately put on a smile. Even though the smile was a little reluctant, he didn't dare to show any neglect. White robe and black cloak, dual cultivation jade medallion. The person who came was the famous harmonious spirit assassin, Ning Fan. Meng Chu hurriedly stood up and greeted him with a smile. Hee. How can Elder Ning be so free? Come to my Merit Hall. I don't have a good cauldron like the Dual Cultivation Palace for you to pluck. Ning Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Meng Chu's words. So in the eyes of evil cultivators, he was a ruthless devil who only knew how to pluck women for cultivation? But it wasn't surprising that others would think so. He cultivated the dual cultivation technique, and the speed of his cultivation was simply terrifying. It wasn't hard for people to suspect that he had ravaged innocent women every night to achieve his current cultivation. He didn't dwell on this matter and said with a smile. Today, Ning Fan naturally came to the Merit Hall to exchange items. But this is my first time in Sinister Sparrow sect, so I don't know what good things are stored in the sect. Good things? Hee hee, there are a few. They are plucking tools refined by famous masters. Hee hee, Elder Ning, take a look. What do you think of this jade yang root? Meng Chu showed a fawning expression and hurriedly took out a jade item from the jade cabinet. That jade was an extremely fine piece of jade. However, it was carved from a man's penis. The effect of this item was self-evident. Ning Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Did this Meng Chu think that he liked this kind of thing? Heh, is Elder Ning satisfied with this jade sun root? Also, this night luminescent pearl is produced in the southern Demon Sea. If it is stuffed into a woman's body, it will definitely be endless. Meng Chu's face was filled with a wretched expression. Ning Fan knew that if he didn't interrupt Meng Chu's thoughts, he was afraid that Meng Chu would take out more strange tools to promote to him. Forget it, Elder Meng. Open the cover of the formation on the counter. I will have a look myself. Does Elder Ning think that my Tao of obscenity isn't good enough? AI, it's no wonder. I haven't touched a woman for 200 years, AI. That year, I was still a cowherd boy. I was with Widow Wang next door. Let's not talk about it. 200 years have passed and I don't even know where Widow Wang's grave is. My first night. Ning Fan felt helpless towards this Meng Chu. There would never be a lack of weirdos among the evil cultivators. There were only things that you couldn't imagine, but there was nothing that you couldn't see. Perhaps, there were also many fake righteous cultivators who acted like thieves and prostitutes. It was just that they were better at disguising themselves as compared to the evil cultivators. Ning Fan sighed slightly. This was his first time thinking about the difference between the righteous and evil cultivators. Everyone was a human with 7 emotions and 6 desires. There was no difference between the righteous and evil cultivators. If there was a difference, it would be the cultivation method system. The cultivation method of the evil cultivators was violent and ruthless. On the other hand, the cultivation method of the righteous cultivators was broad and broad. His pace was slow, but his eyes were hurriedly glancing at the rows of counters. As for Meng Chu, he was cautiously following behind Ning Fan, fearing that he would neglect Ning Fan. 100-year-old eastern jade grass. If this grass was older, it could be used to concoct a type of sleeping incense called jade birth smoke. No one below the nascent soul realm would be able to resist it. Unfortunately, Coral Wisdom King. This is a good item for stabilizing the realm of spirit sense. My spirit sense has improved too quickly, causing my foundation to be unstable. It's just that the price is a little too expensive. 50,000 contribution points. Fine, I'll change to another one. Thunder water. This is a good item, but the label on it says some water. It seems like no one in Sinister Sparrow sect has recognized the origin of this item. 10,000 contribution points. This item is too cheap. It won't be a loss even if I sell it for millions of contribution points. This is the divine spring used to refine an immemorial divine weapon. If I use this spring to condense the Separation Slayer sword, the body of the sword will have a trace of thunder power. I'll change it. Ning Fan halted his steps. He raised his hand and took out a green-skinned ancient book from the jade cabinet. Meng Chu was secretly startled by the act of waving his hand, ignoring the formation and directly taking away the item. The defensive formation was a spirit realm formation. Even a gold core cultivator wouldn't be able to ignore a spirit realm formation, except for the 4 venerables. I heard that Ning Fan had a duel with Revered Bai. I initially thought that Ning Fan was being reckless, but it seems like this kid's hidden strength isn't any weaker than Revered Bai's. When he secretly discovered this matter, the respect he had for Ning Fan deepened. Meng Chu didn't dare to disturb Ning Fan when he saw that Ning Fan was concentrating on the ancient book. The only strange thing was why Ning Fan was interested in this wordless heavenly book. That's right. This green-skinned ancient book was indeed the wordless heavenly book. Ning Fan flipped through the pages, but all of them were yellow and blank without a single word. Except for the 4 cursive words on the cover of the ancient book. Sending the Lord to death. It was just 4 words, but it gave Ning Fan a desolate murderous intent. This was the first time his immortal emperor's murderous intent showed fear. The person who wrote these 4 words had a cultivation base far above immortal Emperor Ancient Chaos. Who was this person? This murderous intent couldn't be sensed by ordinary people. Only void fragmentation experts could see it. Wordless heavenly book, exchange price, 500 contribution points. Ning Fan revealed an inexplicable expression. Even if this ancient book didn't have a single word, the 4 words on the cover of the book were enough to frighten some real old monsters. It was true that there wasn't a single word on the book. He didn't know what kind of mood the person who wrote this book had in the past. He only wrote 4 words without leaving behind a single sentence. However, there seemed to be a trace of loneliness in the paper that lingered for a long time despite being separated by tens of thousands of years. Because of this charm, this ordinary book still hadn't turned into dust even after millions of years. This person's cultivation base is shocking. 500 contribution points for these 4 words. It's worth it. Ning Fan's eyes were burning with passion. An expert who was stronger than immortal Emperor Ancient Chaos. The ancient era was truly an era where gods and devils gathered. It was fascinating. At the same time, Ning Fan also realized something. If he thought that he was invincible because of his identity as the descendant of Ancient Chaos, he would suffer the consequences of his own actions one day. The descendants of immortal emperors were as many as the hairs on a cow. The inheritances of gods and devils were as many as the rain of locusts. One day, when he ascended to the 4 heavens, there would definitely be a gathering of experts. Ning Fan didn't know that his action of flipping the pages of the book had once again shocked Meng Chu. This wordless heavenly book was extremely strange. Even Sinister Sparrow needed a vast amount of magical power to flip a page. In order to ensure that there were no words in this book, Sinister Sparrow had spent several years to completely flip through the book. As for people like Revered Bai, they couldn't even flip a single page. Meng Chu's heart was filled with regret. He realized that the entire Sinister Sparrow sect had underestimated Ning Fan. He was afraid that Ning Fan's true combat strength was comparable to Sinister Sparrow's. In the entire Sinister Sparrow sect, only I know Elder Ning's capability. I must please Elder Ning. Chapter 85. Ning Fan's eyes swept through the rows of jade cabinets and revealed a slightly surprised expression. The foundation of Sinister Sparrow sect was much deeper than Green Clan. The spiritual herbs and magical treasures here tempted Ning Fan. The rotten corpse of a nascent soul old monster. If he gave this to corpse refinement old devil, he might be able to refine a peak gold core corpse puppet. 1 million contribution points. Early gold core wood armored puppet. 500,000 contribution points. Peak high-grade magical treasure, flying cloud rope, 2 million contribution points. In addition, there were large amounts of spiritual fire, spiritual ice, and spiritual lightning that could be exchanged for at least 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and 4th grade. Devil-slaying divine lightning, 3rd grade spiritual lightning. Lightning spirit immortal vein cultivators could refine and devour it. 100,000 contribution points. True Yang fire, 4th grade spiritual fire. 1 million contribution points. Black jade ice, 3rd grade spiritual ice. 100,000 contribution points. 3rd grade spiritual item was still acceptable. But the 4th grade true Yang fire really tempted Ning Fan. As for fire and ice, once they reached the 5th grade, they would be called Heavenly Frost and Earth Fire. There were a total of 12 types of fire and ice above the 5th grade in the Rain Immortal world. Although the 4th grade True Yang Fire was slightly weaker than the Black Demon Flame and the White Bone Flame, it shouldn't be underestimated. Unfortunately, Ning Fan wasn't willing to exchange 1 million contribution points for it. He didn't lack fire now. He already had 2 types of earth vein demonic fire that he hadn't devoured yet. Apart from that, there were many precious evil techniques and even nascent soul cultivation methods. Unfortunately, Ning Fan couldn't cultivate all of them, so he naturally wouldn't be greedy. His eyes swept across the pill counter and was slightly moved. 3rd Revolution Pill, Profound Dragon Pill. This pill had the same effect as the Jade Royal Pill. There was a certain chance of mastering the sound wave magical technique of Dragon Roar and Lion Roar. However, it had been lost for a long time. He didn't expect to see it here. Fourth revolution pill, immortal pill. Consuming this pill could extend one's lifespan by 300 years. Those old monsters who were nearing the end of their lifespan would do anything for this pill. A fourth revolution pill required 3 million contribution points to exchange. Such a sky-high price made Ning Fan flinch. The ingredients of this pill were rare. Otherwise, Ning Fan would have concocted it himself to sell it at a good price. Indeed, it was time to make money. There were only a few tens of thousands of immortal jades left in his storage pouch. Most of them had been used up by the formation in Demon Sinister Forest. I am a fourth revolution Dan Master. If I die of poverty, it will be too ridiculous. Shaking his head, Ning Fan casually took out the items from the light screen and handed the jade plate to Meng Chu to deduct his contribution points. Most of the contribution points were used to exchange for precious spirit herbs. Now, the main ingredients for the nascent forming pill were complete. He had also exchanged for quite a few immortal ores. Next time he returned, he would start forging equipment. Let's change the equipment of the three gods' army. Why don't we equip each of us with a spirit crossbow and form a formation to shoot down golden core cultivators? Other than that, he had specially exchanged for a damaged flying sword for Situ. The traceless sword was once a sword used by a nascent soul old monster. It was a supreme-grade sword and had been destroyed. However, it still contained a trace of that nascent soul old monster's understanding of the sword Dao. If he gave this sword to Situ, he might be able to comprehend his own sword Dao from it and establish his lifelong foundation. In just a short while, Ning Fan had exchanged all 15 million contribution points. By the time he realized it, there were only slightly more than 200,000 contribution points left. The seemingly huge contribution points were actually so easy to spend. Forget it, I'll leave for now. These things are enough for now. Meng Chu's horizons had been broadened today. What did it mean to be extravagant? This was what it meant to be extravagant. 2 million contribution points were spent in a blink of an eye. His face wasn't flushed, nor was he out of breath. Compared to Ning Fan, the other old monsters who came to exchange for treasures all had a distressed look on their faces. Worthy of being the disciple of Master Apothecary, the grandson of Black Devil, worthy of being the #1 expert below the Gold Core realm in Yu Country. There are only a few people in Yu Country who can match this boldness. Meng Chu praised and returned the jade disc to Ning Fan before sending him off. Walking out of the inner hall and through the winding corridor, he could smell the fragrance of tea. Ning Fan halted his footsteps. He didn't notice that there was a tea garden outside the winding corridor when he arrived. Meng Chu was a lazy person, but he loved to drink tea. Naturally, this tea garden was managed by him. There were even some famous types of tea in the garden. But what caught Ning Fan's attention was the emerald green weeds that were absorbing the nutrients from the soil. It wasn't strange for there to be weeds in every herb field. What made Ning Fan curious was that the weeds could actually move. He was certain that his eyes weren't playing tricks on him. There were more than 10 of those weeds and each of them had hundreds of leaves. While Ning Fan was observing, one of the emerald green weeds drilled out of the ground and ran to another tea plant. A wisp of smoke disappeared into the soil. This is... His eyes flashed and revealed an overjoyed expression. In the mortal world, there was a type of medicinal herb that could move, called Caterpillar sinensis. In the cultivation world, there were also some medicinal herbs that could move. If Ning Fan wasn't mistaken, this emerald green grass was what he lacked the most when cultivating the false thought art. Spirit refining grass. It was also known as the path grass. How could Ning Fan not be happy? He was just worrying about how to change his appearance and cultivation base when he found the spirit refining grass. Cultivators valued luck, and Ning Fan's luck seemed to be pretty good. But what made Ning Fan curious was that the spirit refining grass was considered as a special item even in ancient times. The conditions for its formation were extremely harsh. Not only did it have to grow in a cold and gloomy place, but it also had to be accompanied by people who chanted Tao scriptures day and night. Only then could it develop a trace of spiritual intelligence and see its true nature. Only then could it have the effect of spirit refining. He looked at Meng Chu with a strange expression. Could it be that this person accidentally grew the spirit-refining grass that even the ancient cultivators couldn't grow? Unlike Ningfan's joy, Meng Chu showed a distressed expression when he saw the moving weeds in the tea garden and sighed. I don't know what sin this old man has committed, but this kind of weed has appeared in the tea garden in the past 10 years. At first, there was only one, but later, there were more than 10 of them. This weed seemed to have become a spirit. A dignified, harmonious spirit cultivator, couldn't even catch it. This weed doesn't have a body, but why can it absorb nutrients from the soil? It doesn't have legs, but why can it walk? There are so many unsolved mysteries in the cultivation world. Even the sect master couldn't get rid of this weed. Meng Chu sighed. Ningfan put away his joyful expression and smiled. I can get rid of this weed for Elder Meng Chu. Upon hearing this, Meng Chu's spirit trembled and his eyes lit up. If Elder Ning can get rid of this damn weed for me, I will be eternally grateful for Elder's great kindness. I'm willing to be your slave in my next life. Drinking tea was Meng Chu's only hobby. This weed had been bothering him for more than 10 years. However, Ningfan still couldn't understand why there would be someone in this world who would swear to be a slave in his next life for a small tea garden. This Meng Chu was indeed a weirdo. However, it was all thanks to Meng Chu that Ningfan could get the spirit-refining grass. He didn't know what Meng Chu had said in the tea garden to make the spirit-refining grass grow. Ningfan stopped thinking about it and slowly walked to the outside of the tea garden. As he approached, the dozen of spirit-refining grass immediately hid in the soil and disappeared. The spirit-refining grass had a trace of spiritual intelligence. When it escaped, it was invisible, making it extremely hard to catch. However, Ningfan knew how to harvest the spirit-refining grass. He took out an incense burner and put a few kinds of spiritual herbs in it. Then, he crushed them into incense sticks and ignited them. These spiritual herbs were extremely rich in wood spiritual energy. One of them was a bewitching fragrance that could bewitch women. When the incense was ignited, it lingered and spread in the air. The spirit-refining grass seemed to have smelled the aroma and instinctively showed greed. The bewitching fragrance gradually bewitched the spiritual intelligence of the spirit-refining grass. They drilled out of the soil and instinctively hopped towards Ningfan. Meng Chu didn't even dare to breathe loudly. This was definitely the weirdest thing he had seen since he started cultivating the devil path. There was actually someone who drugged spirit herbs, bewitched them, and lured them into a trap. What an expert! Elder Ning must have used this method to bewitch millions of beauties. His technique is so skillful and the bewitching fragrance is so alluring. If I was a woman, I might not be able to keep my chastity. Meng Chu was more and more impressed by Ningfan. When the spirit-refining grass approached Ningfan, Ningfan swept out his spirit sense and enveloped the grass with an invisible spirit sense. Immediately, he patted his storage pouch and took out a glowing jade box. He put the grass into the box and kept the incense burner. Then he heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, I didn't fail you. He cupped his fists at Meng Chu and left. As for Meng Chu, he was almost moved to tears when he looked at the tea garden that had lost its weed. Ningfan is really a good man. I must remember this kindness for the rest of my life. A good man will live a peaceful life. Next time, I must send some good seeds to Elder Ning. The seeds of spiritual tea. However, if Meng Chu knew that the weeds that he hated so much were actually extremely expensive divine herbs in the ancient times, what kind of expression would he have? Chapter 87. In one night, he was plucked by Lu ruthlessly. However, with her cultivation base, she was unable to seize a trace of cultivation base from Ningfan. Her messy hair was full of milky white liquid. Her face, lips, breasts and lower body were all covered with this liquid. She tried very hard to suck out Ningfan's yang essence, but unfortunately, there was no trace of magical power in the yang essence. However, she didn't know all of this. At this moment, she was sleeping soundly because she found out that her cultivation had improved after plucking Ningfan. She was originally at the peak of early harmonious spirit realm, but after Ningfan deliberately activated the dual cultivation ability of the yin-yang locket, her cultivation had improved. I won and you lost. From now on you, Ning Fan, will be my cauldron. I will pluck you every day, pluck you. Before she fainted, she had a proud smile on her face, even though she had intercourse with Ning Fan for a whole night. Is that so? Congratulations. Ning Fan stroked her slender and smooth jade legs with an inexplicable smile. Was this the first woman that he had deceived? However, with Bai Lu here, his days in Sinister Sparrow's sect wouldn't be lonely. After putting away his charming thoughts, he headed straight to the Dan Palace. Dan Palace was the palace that the old monster used to be in charge of. Now, it was taken over by another alchemist elder. No one in Sinister Sparrow's sect knew that the old monster had lost his cultivation. Dan Palace was a palace made of green bricks and jade tiles. There was a nascent realm grand formation outside the palace. It was set up by the old ancestor of Sinister Sparrow's sect for tens of thousands of years. It was used to gather the spiritual power of heaven and earth to increase the success rate of alchemy. Outside the palace, Ning Fan was hit by the fire's spiritual power. He held the elder's jade token and went through the grand formation. Inside the palace, a red-eyed old man with dirty robes and messy hair was reading alchemy books in front of the bookshelf in the outer palace. The outer palace stored alchemy books for the disciples to exchange for and read with contribution points. In the inner palace, there was a third-grade alchemy room. The low-grade one used the first-grade earth fire to concoct pills. The mid-grade one used the second-grade earth fire to concoct pills. The high-grade one used the third-grade earth fire to concoct pills. Generally speaking, only Third Revolution Dan Masters could use the high-grade alchemy room. In the past, apart from the old devil, only this red-eyed old man could use it in Sinister Sparrow sect. This old man's name was Xueqing. He had an eccentric and indifferent personality. If his alchemy skills were graded, he should have reached the level of intermediate Third Revolution. He was not as good as the old monster, but in Yu country he could be considered a famous alchemy master. There was an endless stream of gold core old monsters asking him to refine pills. His red eyes were due to a strange habit of his. He liked to concoct pills with the lid of the cauldron open and observe the concoction process with his naked eyes. Being suffused by the medicinal qi, his eyes turned red. It was said that this red eyes seemed to have formed a Dharma Eye divine ability called Fiery Eye, which was extremely effective in seeing through illusions and invisibility. After sensing Ning Fan's arrival, Xueqing was too lazy to care about him. He continued reading the book and said coldly, "Elder Ning, my Dan Palace is for people to concoct pills, not for people to concoct drugs. What are you doing here?" This person's words were extremely blunt and he had a deep prejudice against Ning Fan. He didn't show any respect to Ning Fan like the other experts of Sinister Sparrow sect. Ning Fan was slightly startled. He didn't know how he offended this old man in front of him. But listening to the old man's words, it seemed that the emphasis was on the word drugs. Could it be that this old man was dissatisfied with his dual cultivation? While he was pondering, Xueqing put down the book and turned to look at Ning Fan coldly when he saw that Ning Fan hadn't left yet. A fiery light flashed in his eyes, carrying a trace of early gold core aura. "Humph! Your master, Han Yuanji, is a hero and a peak Third Revolution Dan Master. How could he accept a good-for-nothing disciple like you who only knows how to play with women? Are you worthy of Han Yuanji?" Xueqing's pressure was like a gentle breeze to Ning Fan's face, but the gaze of the fiery eyes made Ning Fan's heart shudder. He thought to himself, this person has such a scorching gaze. This fiery eyes cannot be underestimated. From the second sentence, Ning Fan vaguely understood why this old man was hostile to him. For the old monster. This Xueqing seemed to be extremely eccentric and arrogant, but he was certainly very persistent in his alchemy. From his clothes and the fiery eye, one could see that this person regarded alchemy as his life. Perhaps this person was arrogant in Sinister Sparrow sect. The only person that could convince him was the old monster who was stronger than him in alchemy. Xueqing probably regarded the old monster as the opponent that he wanted to surpass in his life. Seeing Ning Fan being such a good-for-nothing, who only knew how to play with women and dual cultivation, he was naturally extremely indignant. The truth was more or less the same. Ning Fan had already guessed most of it. If it was because of his friendship with the old monster, Ning Fan wouldn't bother with Xue Qing. Xue Qing's scolding was mostly out of good intentions. He hoped that Ning Fan would turn over a new leaf and learn from the old monster. Ning Fan didn't come here to concoct drugs. Plus, Ning Fan plucked cauldrons, so why would I need to do that? I came here to concoct pills. I asked Elder Xue to open an intermediate concoction room for me. His words were neither servile nor overbearing. His calm expression suddenly turned into a trace of surprise in Xue Qing's eyes. This kid's strength is really as strong as the rumors say. He's the first person below Gold Core to be able to stand firm under my fiery eye. But he knows alchemy? He even wants to borrow an intermediate concoction room? Does he want to concoct second revolution pills? Xue Qing's eyes sized up Ning Fan from top to bottom. He didn't believe that Ning Fan had the ability to concoct second revolution pills. But in the end, his prejudice against Ning Fan had lessened a little. Since this kid could withstand my pressure, he was barely qualified to be the old monster's disciple. Fine, for the sake of the old monster, I'll open an elementary concoction room for him. For the sake of your master, I'll give you an elementary concoction room. You can do whatever you want. Xue Qing's face showed a trace of pain when he thought that Ning Fan, a kid who didn't know alchemy, was going to use his concoction room. If the news of him opening a concoction room for Ning Fan were to spread, it would surely shock Sinister Sparrow sect. After all, given Xue Qing's eccentric personality, he would only open a concoction room for official alchemists who had the alchemist badge. This badge was certified by the Rain Immortal Palace. Every country had a Rain Palace, including U country, where one could be tested for alchemy, refining, and formation techniques. It was said that if one became a technician under the Rain Palace, he would enjoy great rewards. Without the badge, Xue Qing would always chase people away. He wouldn't even open a primary concoction room. But today, he gave Ning Fans a low-grade concoction room. Elder Xue, what's the use of opening a primary concoction room for me? I want to concoct the second revolution consolidating spirit pill. The earth fire in the primary concoction room isn't strong enough and the success rate is too low. Ning Fan slightly frowned and explained. Nonsense. You're only 17 years old. How can you concoct a second revolution pill? Are you looking down on alchemy? Alchemy isn't like dual cultivation. There's a shortcut to improve one's level. It requires the accumulation of experience. In the past, I worked as a medicine boy for a master alchemist for 30 years before I became a first revolution alchemist. 100 years later, I became a second revolution alchemist, and 200 years later, I became a third revolution alchemist. Alchemy must be accumulated step by step. With your anxious state of mind, not to mention concoction, even your cultivation will be filled with inner demons. Learn from your master and your old ancestor, Black Devil Ning. They are all famous alchemists in U country. They learned step by step and accumulated experience to get where they are today. Xue Qing reprimanded Ning Fan with a tone of a senior. Only when he talked about the old devil and Black Devil Ning would he show a trace of fascination. This made Ning Fan feel both bitter and bitter. If this Xue Qing knew that he was Black Devil Ning and that he was reprimanding the person he admired the most, how would he feel? Senior, please open a mid-grade concoction room for me. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. This old man had a good relationship with the old devil. So, he would call him senior. It was this senior that softened Xue Qing's heart. He recalled the time when he was learning alchemy. He kept running into walls and begged Ning Fan to change his mind. He heaved a long sigh and shook his head. AI, your stubbornness is very similar to your master. Forget it, mid-grade it is. That earth fire is a second-grade spiritual fire. It's extremely hard to control. Be careful not to die from the backlash of the fire. A young man will always fail and suffer some hardships. Only then will he know that his senior's words are reasonable. No matter how much I say, it won't be comparable to your experience of failure. Go now. Xue Qing formed an incantation gesture to activate the formation of a mid-grade concoction room in the inner palace. Then he gave Ning Fan a unique formation token. Only those with the token could enter the formation. This was to protect the alchemist from being disturbed during their concoction. "Thank you, Elder Shui." Holding the formation token in his hand, he entered the inner hall and walked towards one of the mid-grade concoction rooms. In the elementary elixir refinement chamber, the earth fire was pale yellow and only had the might of a grade 1 spirit fire. In the intermediate elixir refinement room, the earth fire was faint red and had the might of a grade 2 spirit fire. In the high-grade alchemy room, the earth fire was dark green and had the power of grade 3. Ning Fan walked into the formation light, waved his palm, and took out the Dan fragmentation cauldron. He drew the earth fire into the cauldron, and at the same time, skillfully threw the ingredients of the consolidating spirit Dan into the cauldron. First, he needed to concoct enough consolidating spirit pills to break through to the peak of harmonious spirit realm. Then he would refine the vein opening Dan, spirit raising Dan, and spirit consolidating Dan. In the future, he would bring them back to 7 Apricot City for the 3-god army to consume. As for the medicine to treat Lan Mei's injuries and some third revolution pills needed for secluded cultivation, he would have to wait until he had successfully refined the pills and asked Xue Qing for a high-grade alchemy room. Thinking about it, if he could concoct a second revolution pill, he would definitely be able to reverse Xue Qing's prejudice against him. It would not be difficult for him to borrow a high-grade alchemy room. Xue Qing walked into the inner hall with an ancient expression. 40 years. He had been friends with the old monster for 40 years. Now, the old monster's disciple had already grown up. He was young and arrogant, thinking that he could concoct a second revolution pill at the age of 17. How impulsive he was when he was young. But wasn't this the nature of young people? They could only grow through failure. The truth was far less direct than a single failure. Han Yuanji, I have made an exception to open a mid-grade alchemy room for your disciple. It is all for your sake. I want to help you train this disciple. He is also an unpolished jade, but if an unpolished jade is not polished, it will never become a fine jade. Until now, Xue Qing still stubbornly believed that Ning Fan could not concoct a second revolution pill. But this stubbornness was dispelled when a whiff of the medicinal fragrance of a second revolution pill wafted out from the alchemy room. Ning Fan had really concocted a second revolution pill. This medicinal fragrance seemed to be the consolidating spirit pill. Consolidating spirit pill was one of the most difficult pills to concoct among the second revolution pills. But this kid had actually concocted it. No, it's not just one. His eyes were filled with shock for the first time in his life. Because he could smell that there wasn't just one whiff of medicinal fragrance drifting out from the alchemy room, but hundreds of them. Could it be that Ning Fan had concocted hundreds of second revolution pills at the same time? Impossible. Even the old monster couldn't do it. Chapter 88. Ning Fan would never have thought that Xue Qing could sniff out the number of pills just from the fragrance. This keen sense of smell was innate and Ning Fan knew that he couldn't learn it. Concocting 200 consolidating spirit pills at the same time wasn't easy for the current Ning Fan. This was also because his concoction technique had reached the 4th revolution. If it was another 3rd revolution pill master like Xue Qing, it would be extremely difficult to concoct 10 consolidating spirit pills at the same time. Fortunately, Ning Fan's spirit sense was at the peak gold core realm. After consuming the spirit refining grass and the bright king coral, his spirit sense became more solid and more agile than before. Half an hour later, his eyes suddenly flashed. He patted the lid of the cauldron and flicked his sleeve before the fragrance spread out. He used his spirit sense to seal the fragrance and the pills into a jade bottle. Spirit sense pill sealing. This pill sealing technique was one of the 9 revolutions of the river wheel. It could ensure that the fragrance of the herbs wouldn't disperse and the medicinal efficacy would be greater. There was no one else in the Rain Immortal world who could do this except for Ning Fan. Finally, the pills are formed. Ning Fan wiped the sweat from his forehead and heaved a sigh of relief. He didn't immediately consume the consolidating spirit pill to break through but sat cross-legged to regulate his breathing. One consolidating spirit pill was enough to increase the concentration of spiritual energy in one immortal vein and gradually turn it into a solid state. However, success rates weren't guaranteed. It depended on the level of the concoction of the pill master. An ordinary second revolution pill refinement master would only have a success rate of 1/3 of the spirit strengthening pill. The pills concocted by a third revolution pill master like Xueqin might have a success rate of 50%. As for the consolidating spirit pill Ning Fan concocted, it had at least a success rate of 90%. This was a terrifying number. After half an hour, Ning Fan's magical power was fully restored. He then took out the consolidating spirit pill and consumed it. As soon as the medicinal efficacy melted, an abundant medicinal energy rushed straight to the immortal vein. The late harmonious spirit immortal vein had become tough and wide after the spirit ascension. As for spirit consolidation, it allowed the magical energy in the immortal vein to continuously increase its spirituality and turn it into a solid state, laying the foundation for forming the gold core. 1 vein, 10 veins, 100 veins. The yin-yang evil vein could refine the medicinal energy very quickly. The disadvantage was that the magical energy flowed too fast, causing the immortal vein to swell and hurt. But a mere pain compared to the Jade Royal pill was not even worth mentioning. The time lasted for a day and a night. After a day, Ning Fan let out a long roar. His aura rose abruptly and turned into a gale. His magical power had doubled compared to before. Peak harmonious spirit realm. As for his divine sense, as his cultivation level increased, it reached the half-step nascent soul realm and it was difficult for it to increase any further. His cultivation and divine sense had reached a bottleneck at the same time. His cultivation was at the bottleneck of the golden core realm, but his spiritual sense was at the bottleneck of the nascent soul realm. At this point, eating any pills would be useless. The golden core bottleneck required one to go into seclusion and sever their heart demons. Without dozens of years, it would be impossible to break through. Feeling the vast magical power in his body, Ning Fan flicked his finger. A trace of lightning shot out from his finger and struck the blue stone on the ground. That blue stone was called the Ghost Rock. It was known for its toughness. However, a lightning strike from Ning Fan was able to create a thumb-sized hole that was half an inch deep. The area where the blue stone was damaged was slightly charred. Lightning Palm. That trace of lightning was a divine ability that only gold core old monsters could use. Ning Fan's cultivation had yet to reach the gold core realm, so he could only cast out a trace of lightning. It was not the lightning palm, but the power of that trace of lightning was already comparable to ordinary spirit realm magical arts. This is the means of a gold core expert compared to a harmonious spirit expert. It's not the quantity of magical power, but the quality. He closed his eyes and calmed down the joy of increasing his strength. Gradually, his heart became as calm as still water. Gold core, gold core. Just one more step and he would be able to form the gold core and become a master in Yu country. Half a year ago, he was just a mortal. Half a year later, he already had an earth-shattering strength. The increase in strength was too fast and the heart demons that were produced would be extremely difficult to sever. The sect master of all pleasure sect, Sha Juyo, who bullied him in the past, was only a 10th level vein opening girl. She was nothing in Ning Fan's eyes now. His home in the past was the Ning clan of Hai Ning. It seemed that the old ancestor of the Ning clan was only a harmonious spirit cultivator. They are too weak. Ning Fan's tone was extremely indifferent. All pleasure sect and Ning clan were his enemies in the past. But now, they were just ants in his eyes, not worth mentioning and disdaining. His state of mind was changing. He was adapting to the identity and state of mind of an expert. He stood alone for a long time, then opened his eyes and exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi. Without any change in his expression, he sat cross-legged again. He kept the rest of the consolidating spirit pills on the ground and stabilized his realm. When his qi was completely condensed, he began to concoct other pills again. For a day and a night, Xueqin waited outside Ning Fan's concoction room. His expression was somewhat respectful. He didn't dare to make a sound, fearing that he would disturb Ning Fan. He was 30% sure that Ning Fan was a 4th revolution pill master. He believed in his sense of smell. His ability to identify medicinal fragrance had once won the praise of a 4th revolution pill master. Even that fourth revolution pill master's ability to identify medicinal fragrance wasn't as good as Xueqing's. Based on his sense of smell, he was 30% sure that he could deduce Ning Fan's concoction technique. If he could observe Ning Fan's concoction personally, his confidence would be greater. He, Xueqing, respectfully stood outside the stone door, like a disciple guarding his master. It was just like many years ago when he was apprenticed to a master and learned martial arts, the scene of standing in the snow at the gate of Qingmen. Many experts who came to Dan Palace to concoct pills gasped as if they had seen a ghost when they saw Xueqing standing outside the concoction room personally. Who's concocting pills in this concoction room? How could the dignified elder Xueqing wait like this? This person must have a great reputation. Look, it's Dual Cultivation Palace on the door plate. Dual Cultivation Palace. None of those lawless women knows how to concoct pills. Could it be that Elder Ning Fan is concocting pills in there? He's worthy of being Elder Ning. Even the dignified Third Revolution Pill Master Xueqing is so respectful to him. These experts clicked their tongues in admiration, but as soon as they spoke, Xueqing glared at them as if he wanted to devour them. This Xueqing was also a demonic cultivator and wasn't a kind person to begin with. Get out of here. All of you, get out of Dan Palace. Dan Palace isn't open to anyone today. Xueqing's tone was ferocious. He even slightly released his gold core aura. However, his voice was extremely low, which gave people a comical feeling. He was afraid that his voice was too loud, which might affect Ning Fan's concoction process. After driving all the old monsters who came to concoct pills out of Dan Palace, Xueqing emptied the entire place just for Ning Fan. He waited bitterly for a long time. Finally, the stone door of the concoction room opened with a bang. Along with waves of medicinal fragrance, an extraordinary youth walked out of the room with a slightly tired expression. Despite his tired expression, his chi was as different as heaven and earth compared to before he entered the concoction room. Xueqing was about to ask about Ning Fan's true concoction technique, but before he could open his mouth, he sensed Ning Fan's chi and froze on the spot. Peak Harmonious Spirit Realm. You have broken through to the peak of Harmonious Spirit Realm. It only took you a day? Xueqing's voice was a little ear-piercing because of his excitement. I was just lucky. I'm a little tired today. I'll come back another day to concoct pills. Ning Fan cupped his fists at Xueqing and left. Xueqing was dumbfounded. He was so shocked that he forgot to ask about Ning Fan's concoction level. Xueqing paid some attention to Ning Fan. After all, Ning Fan was the disciple of the old devil. According to what he knew, Ning Fan was an intermediate harmonious spirit expert before he entered the sect. After entering the demon sinister forest for a month, he was already a late harmonious spirit expert. After entering the concoction room for a day, he had broken through to the peak harmonious spirit realm. Putting aside his alchemy skills, his cultivation talent was just too shocking. Even if he cultivated dual devil cultivation, he wouldn't be able to have such a cultivation speed. This kid, how did he do it? Xueqing was stunned. He suddenly felt that it was ridiculous for him to look down on Ning Fan in the beginning. Even with his hundreds of years of experience, he couldn't see through this kid at all. After Ning Fan left, Xueqing slapped his forehead. He finally remembered that he had forgotten to ask about Ning Fan's concoction technique. I'm so stupid. How could I forget about it? Xueqing was annoyed and blamed himself inwardly. However, even if he didn't ask Ning Fan personally, he was sure of one thing. When Ning Fan walked out of the concoction room, the medicinal fragrance couldn't be faked. It was the smell of thousands of second revolution pills. In just one day, Ning Fan had concocted thousands of second revolution pills in the concoction room. Perhaps Ning Fan wasn't a fourth revolution pill master, but he was at least a third revolution pill master. A 17-year-old third revolution pill master? Or even a fourth revolution pill master? Xueqing's eyes were blazing with passion. He had an urge to catch up with Ning Fan and have a good exchange of concoction techniques, but on second thought, he dismissed the idea. Forget it. Elder Ning needs time to stabilize his realm after breaking through to the peak harmonious spirit realm. I'd better not disturb him. He said that he would come back in a few days. And I'll wait for him. Unknowingly, Xue Qing had started to address Ning Fan respectfully. His self-address had changed from I to I. The change in the way he addressed Ning Fan indicated that he had acknowledged Ning Fan from the bottom of his heart. Chapter 89. Walking in the valley of the inner sect, Ning Fan stepped on the thick layer of fallen leaves. His back looked a little bleak. The closer a cultivator was to the gold core realm, the more they would forget about their emotions. It could also be said that the gold core realm was the realm where the cultivator had completely cut off all ties with the mortal world. The heart devil was getting closer and closer, making Ning Fan's heart feel a little uncomfortable. I don't like this feeling. He stopped in his tracks, closed his eyes, and stood in the wind, suppressing his inner demons. The wind was still blowing, but his heart was calm. After a long while, Ning Fan opened his eyes and restored his usual unruly smile. This is who I am. It was still early when he returned to the dual cultivation palace. However, Ning Fan had been continuously breaking through and concocting pills for a day and night. His body and mind were extremely tired. He put on his clothes and went to bed, half lying down, but before he fell asleep, the spiritual level formation light outside the courtyard flashed again. Egret is here again. What a troublesome woman. Can't you stop for a while? Ning Fan got up and sat at the head of the bed. Right at that moment, he saw Bai Lu pushing the door open and entering the room. She was wearing the same arrogant smile that she had when they first met. She was sneering at Ning Fan complacently. Pumph. A mere human cauldron actually dares to disappear for a day and a night, making me your master look for you. Cauldron? Are you calling me? If it wasn't you, who else would it be? I was the one who won the night before yesterday. According to our agreement, if I manage to pluck a strand of your cultivation, you will be willing to be my cauldron. Bai Lu's tone was a little arrogant. After breaking through to the intermediate harmonious spirit realm, a trace of arrogance seemed to have risen in her. Will that matter? If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten about it. Miss Bai Lu, look, it's still early. Isn't it inappropriate for us to have sex in broad daylight? Ning Fan rubbed his forehead. His expression didn't change, but he laughed in his heart. This Bai Lu was still kept in the dark, thinking that she had succeeded in plucking Ning Fan. After all, after a night of sexual intercourse, Bai Lu's cultivation had advanced from early harmonious spirit realm to intermediate harmonious spirit realm. It was indeed like a successful plucking. Humph! Ning Fan, you're already my, Bai Lu's, human cauldron. Don't tell me you want to go back on your word? Let me tell you, Big Sister is going to pluck you today. Well, it's up to you. I'm very comfortable anyway. But it's still early. Have a drink with me. When I'm drunk, you can pluck me until you're satisfied. Ning Fan didn't put Bai Lu's plucking in his eyes. How was that plucking? It was more like throwing herself into his arms. However, Bai Lu herself hadn't realized it yet. What? Drink wine? Bai Lu revealed an awkward expression. She had never touched a drop of wine because her alcohol tolerance was too low. Moreover, even if she were to drink with Ning Fan, what right did she, Bai Lu, an arrogant woman, have to drink with him? She could not wait to hate Ning Fan. Even though her mood had changed a little after having intercourse with him twice, her hatred for him remained the same. Just as she was about to refuse, she saw Ning Fan patting his storage pouch and took out an ancient wine jar. It was unknown what kind of wine was contained in this wine jar. Even before the clay seal was opened, an alluring sweet fragrance wafted out. A trace of aroma contained rich spiritual qi. Bai Lu sniffed a wisp of aroma and was shocked. Her cultivation base had improved a little. Although it was just an insignificant trace, it showed that this wine was extraordinary. Drinking this wine could increase one's cultivation. Increasing one's cultivation base could protect the sisters of Dual Cultivation Palace from being abused by men. Only an idiot wouldn't drink such a good wine. All right. Sister will accompany you for a drink. Bai Lu replied straightforwardly. She thought that although her alcohol tolerance wasn't good, Ning Fan didn't seem like a good drinker. She wouldn't get drunk after drinking a cup of wine. After I finish drinking, I will pluck you. I will pluck your cultivation base into my body. Bai Lu stared at Ning Fan and pondered bitterly. However, she was destined to be disappointed. What would be left in her body would only be the milky white liquid, not Ning Fan's cultivation base. I obtained this wine in the demon's sinister forest. It's called green ghost blood. Drinking a cup of it can elevate one's spirit. You are already an intermediate harmonious spirit expert. It's very beneficial to your cultivation base. But it's useless to me, Ning Fan said plainly. This wine was one of the items stored in the Green Clan's vault. Unfortunately, he was already a late harmonious spirit expert when he annihilated the Green Clan. Naturally, he wouldn't drink this wine. But today, his heart devil was gradually rising, making him feel inexplicably depressed. Since he couldn't use women to suppress his depression, he could only use wine to suppress it. A devil cultivator couldn't live without women and wine, otherwise, he would fall into chi deviation. Waving his sleeve, he took out 2 jade cups and opened the seals. The wine inside was as red as blood, as sweet as grapes, and as mellow as 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs. This was Ning Fan's first time drinking wine. He lifted the cup and drained it in one gulp. This cup of spiritual wine was priceless, but he didn't care. This wine wasn't for improving his cultivation base or condensing his magical power, but to calm his heart devil. Perhaps it was because of Ning Fan's calmness that his cultivation base didn't improve, but his state of mind was gradually improving. He was drunk after 1 cup. He was swaying after 2 cups. He gradually sobered up after 3 cups. When he drank the 4th and 5th cup, his eyes were clear, without a trace of drunkenness. What is drunkenness? Death by wine is drunkenness. If I can maintain a trace of clarity in my heart, my body will be drunk, but my heart won't be drunk. In the end, there won't be a trace of drunkenness in my heart. Ning Fan said something inexplicable. He wasn't drinking wine, he was drinking the enlightenment. He was trying to find a way to eliminate the heart devil while he was drunk. The heart devil was like the wine that blinded one's heart. If he could maintain a trace of clarity in his heart, even if his body was eroded by the heart devil, he wouldn't succumb to the heart devil. Even if the wine was brewed from a 1,000-year-old spiritual herb, even if the heart devil was produced by an immortal emperor-grade devil art. With this thought in mind, Ning Fan drank more than 10 cups of wine, no longer showing any signs of drunkenness. The heart devil isn't scary. His eyes lit up. If he went into seclusion now to break through to the Gold Core realm and eliminate the heart devil, he had 50% confidence to eliminate the heart devil without any help. The funny thing was that while Ning Fan was enlightening himself with the wine, Bai Lu was drinking crazily on the other side. Bai Lu had underestimated the power of the green ghost blood. This was the precious wine of the great elder of Green Clan. It was brewed from a 1,000-year-old spiritual herb. A cup of it was enough to make Ning Fan drunk. She was merely an intermediate harmonious spirit expert with a weak body. How could she resist the power of the wine? Bai Lu took a sip of the blood-red wine with her pale lips. Immediately, her face turned red as if she was drunk. This girl wasn't good at drinking, let alone drinking a 1,000-year-old spiritual wine. It was fine if she was drunk. She could just lie down obediently, but this girl wasn't a peaceful person. Because of the power of the wine, Bai Lu's body became slightly hot. She was like Ning Fan drinking alone, but with every cup she drank, her body became hotter. It's so hot. I'm taking off my clothes. Don't peek. She glared at Ning Fan arrogantly, then began to take off the layers of gauze on her body. The gauze was thin. Her body was slightly sweaty, making her clothes stick to her body, outlining her graceful curves. Hot, still hot. It wasn't her body that was hot, but her heart. Bai Lu's eyes were blurred. She looked at Ning Fan in a daze. Her eyes were filled with love and hate, sorrow and reluctance. It was a pair of eyes that could deeply enchant anyone. They were pure, flawless and clear like the clear stream of the mountain. Even the stars in the sky lost their brilliance in front of her eyes. Her clothes were half covered. She suddenly stood up and went into Ning Fan's arms. Big sister feels so uncomfortable. Let me pluck you. She was like a water snake in Ning Fan's arms, rubbing back and forth. Her jade-like legs wrapped around Ning Fan's waist and her arms hugged his neck tightly. She was completely drunk, but she seemed to be instinctively attached to Ning Fan's arms. Her heart was still hating Ning Fan, but her body seemed to be enjoying Ning Fan's thrusts. However, Ning Fan wasn't in the mood to dual cultivate with this troublesome woman. Be quiet for a while. Wait for the sky to turn dark. He pointed his finger at the center of Bai Lu's eyebrows, causing her to fall into a deep sleep. Then she fell into his arms and covered herself with a thin quilt. Ning Fan was still drinking cup after cup of wine to comprehend and stabilize his state of mind bit by bit. Bai Lu, who was unconscious, was still restless. In a daze, she started to talk in her sleep again. Mother, Lu Er wants to listen to a ballad. Ning Fan flatly refused. I want to listen to it. I must listen to it. If I don't listen to it, Lu Er won't sleep tonight. I'll go to the riverside and listen to the frogs singing. Ning Fan remained silent for a while. It was hard to imagine that the cold and arrogant Bai Lu would listen to the frogs singing like a fool when she was young. He revealed an inexplicable expression. After a long time, he started to sing the fisherman's song of Wu country. The song continued until the sky turned dark. Finally, Bai Lu fell asleep. The egrets fly in front of Mount Shisai, peach blossoms flow and mandarin fish are fat. Green bamboo hat, green straw raincoat, slanting wind and drizzling rain don't need to return. Bai Lu was probably the cauldron that Ning Fan had the best treatment. She could dual cultivate and listen to Ning Fan's ballad. Sounds good? I want to listen more, Bai Lu said in a daze. When the sky turned dark, Ning Fan got up and kept the wine. He looked at the sleeping Bai Lu, thinking whether he should dual cultivate or not. Compared to ravaging a drunken Bai Lu, Ning Fan was more willing to lie on the ground and let Bai Lu pluck him. Am I getting worse? Ning Fan shook his head and chuckled. All of a sudden he felt a chill on his back. His hair stood on end. He immediately dodged to one side. A ripple appeared in the void where he was standing a moment ago. Suddenly, a crack appeared and a bony claw stretched out from the crack, aiming at Ning Fan. The bony claw carried a trace of early gold core chi. When it missed its target, it immediately vanished and the void was healed. Ning Fan would never forget the bony claw's chi. His face darkened. He immediately held the separation slayer in his hand and was on high alert. However, the bony claw never appeared again. A sneak attack. It was Bone Emperor's sneak attack. But where did Bone Emperor attack from? Demon Sinister Forest? Demon Sinister Forest was a place that blocked all ghostly magical techniques. It was impossible for Bone Emperor to sneak attack him in Demon Sinister Forest. He has left Demon Sinister Forest and come to you country? Ning Fan's face turned solemn. If Bone Emperor left Demon Sinister Forest, he was afraid that he would be in great danger. Judging from the power of the bony claw, Bone Emperor could only exert an early gold core attack. The reason why Bone Emperor didn't show himself and only used a sneak attack was probably because he was waiting for his cultivation base to recover. Bone Emperor is really a maggot in one's bones. This time, Ning Fan had completely lost the mood for dual cultivation. In the Deacon Palace, Wang Yao kept the technique and revealed a trace of a sneer. His senses are quite sharp. It seems like it's impossible to sneak attack this kid. Forget it. This bone separation technique consumes a lot of my energy. If I can't kill him, it's meaningless to use it again. I'd better continue to devour blood and flesh to recover my nascent soul cultivation base. This kid won't be able to escape from my palm. This feeling of a cat playing with a mouse is very interesting. The night was getting dark. Wang Yao left the Deacon Palace and left Sinister Sparrow's sect in a flash. Chapter 90. Just in case, he calcined the bone countless times, and only after he was sure that there was no trace of divine sense in it did he put it away. It's not spirit sense tracking. Ning Fan closed his eyes, his brows knitted even tighter. He had no idea how the Bone Emperor found him. He had no idea where the Bone Emperor was hiding. He did not like the feeling of being in the light while the enemy was in the dark. Even with divination, he was unable to divine the location of the Bone Sovereign. As such, he could only be careful and guard against the sneak attack of the Bone Emperor. He patted on the bed and Bai Lu's slender and jade-like legs were touched by his palm. Bai Lu moaned softly in her sleep. She clamped her legs unnaturally and woke up. His face was still a little tipsy and dazed. Gradually, however, she felt that Ning Fan was actually extremely daring to touch her jade-like thigh. Bai Lu shuddered and nearly sobered up. "What are you doing?" "Nothing much. I just feel that your legs are very beautiful." Ning Fan smiled faintly. His palm slid between Bai Lu's legs but was stopped by her hand. Even though she had already lost her chastity to Ning Fan and even took the initiative to pluck him once, she still felt extremely uncomfortable when Ning Fan touched her. When Bai Lu thought of the fact that her legs, which had attracted countless men's attention, were being desecrated by the person she hated the most, she felt a trace of shame. You want to take advantage of me while I'm drunk? Lie down properly. Let me pluck you, or else I'll kill you." Bai Lu's words carried a trace of coldness. From her point of view, she had plucked Ning Fan once. The current Ning Fan probably didn't even have a harmonious spirit cultivation base. As for herself, she had become a high and mighty intermediate harmonious spirit expert. Killing Ning Fan would be as easy as flipping her hand. However, because of Ning Fan's background, they couldn't kill him, but they couldn't avoid plucking him. Bai Lu pointed at Ning Fan's chest with her bewitching technique. However, the force of her finger was like a gentle breeze to Ning Fan. Her fair hands untied his pants. Then, she bent down and stroked the hair near his ear. Her mouth was filled with heat. "Behave yourself. Then I'll take less of you." Bai Lu held Ning Fan's fiery mouth and threatened him vaguely. "And suit yourself." However, Ning Fan did not have the mood to enjoy it. All his attention was focused on defending against Bone Sovereign's sneak attack. As for Bone Emperor, he didn't launch another sneak attack. Ning Fan stayed in the Dual Cultivation Palace to regulate his breathing for 3 days. When his cultivation base had completely stabilized, he headed to the Pill Palace again. The triple revolving heart protection pill used to refine the Black Demon Flame. The 3 reincarnation muscle growth pill that could cure Lan Mei's illness. It was the purple golden elixir that could help see Wuxia improve her cultivation. The Yin lightning pill used to reconstruct Nangong's lightning veins. There was also the demon fusion pill, which was used to raise the human pet compatibility of that weirdo Yuchi. Of course, he was also preparing to concoct the dragon saliva pill and the complete cleansing pill. The former was a 3rd revolution healing medicine while the latter was a 3rd revolution medicinal pill that could restore one's magic power. It was better to be prepared just in case. Now that everything was ready, Ning Fan could start his seclusion without any distractions. The pill hall was cold and quiet these few days. Elder Xueqing seemed to have gone crazy. He actually didn't allow 1st Revolution Pill Masters to step into the Dan Hall. Only 2nd Revolution Pill Masters were allowed to enter the Dan Hall. A 1st Revolution apothecary is prone to cauldrons exploding. If the noise is too loud, it will affect others. This was Xueqing's explanation, one that others couldn't understand. Wasn't it normal for a cauldron to explode? It was just a small explosion. Who could be affected by it? Xueqing's purpose was very simple. He was afraid that Ning Fan would come to the Dan Hall unknowingly. Once he started concocting pills, Ning Fan would be affected by others. "Elder Xue, can you make an exception for me? It's almost the end of the month. This junior has to submit 10 First Revolution pills to the sect. This can't be delayed." A green-robed youth put away his usual unrestrained manner and begged Xueqing bitterly. There were many First Revolution pill masters like him who were in urgent need of concocting pills and had to submit pills to the sect. However, Xueqing only responded with indifference to these people's request. This old man won't repeat his words twice. Those who have nothing to do with this old man, get out of here. Xueqing's qi was somewhat frightening. Devil cultivators didn't know how to reason with others. Their reason was their fists. If you had 2nd Revolution pill concoction technique, why wouldn't Xueqing let you in? If you have a 3rd or 4th Revolution pill refinement technique like Ning Fan, Xueqing would even treat you as a distinguished guest despite his old age. The green-robed youth and the red-robed girl were sighing while the other looked indignant. Upon a closer look, the green-robed youth who was chased away by Xueqing was the son of Nangong, Nanwei, whom Ning Fan had met once. As for the red-robed girl, she was a female disciple of Sinister Sparrow sect. She had an unruly character, but was loyal to Nan Wei. Nan Wei sighed. He came to Dan Palace to concoct pills. The old monster taught Nangong the art of concoction, and Nangong taught his son the art of concoction. Nan Wei could be considered as a first revolution pill master. Every month, Nan Wei had to submit 10 first revolution pills to the sect. But it seemed like he wouldn't be able to submit the pills this time. If he couldn't submit the pills this month, it was inevitable that his contribution points would be deducted. What worried Nan Wei was that if Dan Palace was closed for a few months, not allowing First Revolution pill masters to enter, then the contribution points that he had painstakingly accumulated would be deducted completely. Forget it. Xiao Yu, let's go. Nan Wei sighed. Brother Nan, don't bother me. Isn't it just contribution points? What's the big deal? Yu Air has a few hundred of them. I'll lend them to you. If you don't want to, Yu Air will bring you to our Qin clan of Western Yu. The concoction room there might not be any worse than this shabby Dan Palace. What's so special about it? This old Shui has such a bad temper. He's just an early gold core old man. It's not like we don't have any gold core experts in our Qin clan. Brother Nan, I'll call my grandfather next time to help you teach this stinky old man a lesson, okay? The red-robed girl smiled playfully. She didn't know how arrogant her words were. Qin clan of Western Yu? The old ancestor was just an intermediate gold core old monster. He might be fine in Yu country, but who was he in the eyes of Sinister Sparrow sect? And he still wanted to teach Xue Qing a lesson? Xue Qing was a third revolution pill master. He had made friends with gold core old monsters all over the world. Which gold core old monster would be stupid enough to make him their enemy? This girl's appearance was ordinary. She was the eldest daughter of the third generation of Qin clan of Western Yu country. Her name was Qin Yu. Her family background was not bad, but her character and mind were the worst. However, she liked Nan Wei wholeheartedly. Apart from Nan Wei, she had never been kind to anyone. She had always been arrogant and condescending. Nan Wei smiled bitterly. He didn't know why he had such an ill-fated relationship with this unruly silly girl. She wasn't beautiful and had a bad character. However, her sincerity towards him made it hard for Nan Wei to abandon her. Silly girl, don't talk nonsense. Sooner or later, you will offend someone because of your wrong words. Nan Wei instigated. He pulled Qin Yu's little hand and wanted to leave. As for Qin Yu, her little mouth twitched, showing a reluctant look. However, they couldn't leave now. Qin Yu's careless words had indeed infuriated Xue Qing. Little girl of Qin clan, you're really bold. You want to teach this old man a lesson? I don't know if I should say that you're astonishingly courageous or ignorant. This old man will teach you a lesson on behalf of old Devil Qin. The voice came from the Pill Palace. Along with it was a tyrannical early gold core spirit sense that pressed down on Qin Yu. This was the Devil Sect, a place where a single word could kill. It was common sense to not speak nonsense if one didn't have the strength. Senior, please show mercy. Nan Wei's expression changed drastically. He had never thought that Xue Qing would hear Qin Yu's ruthless words. He complained in his heart. He had expected that Qin Yu would offend someone one day, but he didn't know that this day would come so soon. At this moment, Qin Yu's face was pale with fear. She had never faced the wrath of a gold core old monster before. Her heart slightly trembled because of fear. Only now did she realize how ignorant she was before. She actually dared to challenge a core formation old monster. Brother Nan, save me. She grabbed Nan Wei's sleeve tightly, not daring to let go. And Nan Wei didn't plan to abandon this girl. However, facing Xue Qing's ocean-like gold core spirit sense, Nan Wei felt that his level 10 vein opening realm cultivation base was as insignificant as a drop in the ocean. A gold core expert couldn't be defeated. What should I do? His mind was racing. If Xue Qing's spirit sense were to suppress Qin Yu, she would be seriously injured with her low cultivation base. But right at this moment, a scene that he had never expected to see appeared. A spirit sense that was as gentle as the wind spread out gently. Xue Qing's violent spirit sense was blown away by this spirit sense. At the same time, a teasing voice came from the forest in the valley. A young man in white robe and black cloak walked out slowly and smiled at the direction of the Pill Palace. Elder Shui, why are you angry with a junior? These two people are my friends. His words were light and casual, but Shui Qing's expression changed when he heard it. What? These two people are Elder Ning's friends? This old man was reckless. I'm sorry. Sorry? Why would Shui Qing apologize to someone? A red light flashed out of the Pill Palace. It was the insufferably arrogant Shui Qing. However, the current Shui Qing was exceptionally respectful towards Ning Fan. At the same time, he looked at Ning Fan with an expectant expression. This old man has been waiting for a few days. Elder Ning is finally here. Shui Qing's heart was filled with excitement. Didn't he chase away countless First Revolution Dan masters just to wait for Ning Fan? Qin Yu's small mouth opened slightly. Nan Wei was also slightly shocked. Shui Qing, who didn't even put the Qin clan in his eyes, was actually so respectful towards Ning Fan. This shock immediately turned into a trace of fire in Nan Wei's eyes. He had always been arrogant, but for the first time, he half knelt in front of Ning Fan. This was the second time Nan Wei met Ning Fan. The first time was at the Dao fruit auction. He was extremely respectful towards Ning Fan because of his father's identity as a Dan master. But this time, he couldn't even see through a trace of Ning Fan's cultivation base. He even felt a stab of pain when he looked into Ning Fan's eyes. Ning Fan's cultivation base had far surpassed Nan Wei. Greetings, young master. Nan Wei's voice was as firm as a boulder, filled with excitement and respect. This was because his young master was someone who could make the stubborn Shui Qing lower his head and apologize. However, Ning Fan didn't expect Shui Qing to be so respectful towards him. Why is this old man's attitude towards me so friendly? Chapter 91. Shui Qing's devil aura made her retract her arrogance and be cautious. What she couldn't believe was that Nan Wei, who had always been arrogant, half knelt in front of a young man. Cultivators usually just cupped their fists in greeting. Nan Wei's kneeling was a form of acknowledgement from the master and servant. Nan Wei greets young master. Nan Wei's eyes were blazing. Young master? Qin Yu seemed to have understood something. So this skinny kid was Nan Wei's master. Her eyes were sizing up Ning Fan's from head to toe. She couldn't understand how Ning Fan's skinny physique was able to block Shui Qing's gold core spirit sense and how Nan Wei was willing to serve him wholeheartedly. But when her eyes fell on the jade token on Ning Fan's waist, her pretty face turned pale. She instantly understood Ning Fan's identity. She didn't know what young master was, but she knew that the young man in front of her was the elder of Dual Cultivation Palace. He's Ning Fan. No, I mean Elder Ning. The reverence in Qin Yu's eyes wasn't fake. Given her conceited character, she rarely feared anyone. In fact, Qin Yu cultivated a secret technique that only the direct descendants of Qin clan in Western Yu country could cultivate. When she secretly used this technique on Ning Fan, she was afraid of him to death. Bloodthirst technique. This technique could increase one's cultivation base by killing people, but it had a huge drawback and was extremely difficult to cultivate. However, this technique was extremely mysterious. The cultivator of this technique could see how many people a person had killed in their life by observing the blood qi on their soul. In Qin Yu's eyes, although Shui Qing had a strong cultivation base and a bad temper, the blood qi on his body was at most hundreds of thousands of people. He wasn't a homicidal maniac. However, Ning Fan looked gentle and humble, but the blood qi on his soul was hundreds of times more than Shui Qing's. Ning Fan's hands were full of blood debts. He had overturned the Heaven Separation sect and swept across the demon sinister forest. He had taken the lives of nearly 100,000 people, and all of them were cultivators. Moreover, there were 1,000 balls of blood qi that emitted an ominous light. Without a doubt, Ning Fan had killed 1,000 people who were comparable to gold core experts. One couldn't tell how ruthless Ning Fan was from his appearance. Ning Fan didn't care about Qin Yu's fear. The only thing that bothered him was Shui Qing's excessive respect. What made him sigh was that Nan Wei's attitude towards him was also too respectful. With a flick of his sleeve, a gust of wind rose from his sleeve and lifted Nan Wei up. Ning Fan shook his head and sighed. Compared to the respectful Nan Wei, he preferred the Nan Wei who dragged him around to look at beauties during the Dao fruit auction. The increase in strength was bound to bring about a change in identity. He gained a subordinate, but lost a friend. Young master, Nan's young master can call me Nan. Good Nan Wei, looking at your cultivation, it seems like you have reached the peak of the vein-opening realm, not far from the harmonious spirit realm. This profound spirit Dan is for you. Go into seclusion once and break through to the harmonious spirit realm shouldn't be hard. Tian said. Fan and took out a Dan and said. The profound spirit Dan was merely a second revolution Dan. Its ingredients were not precious, but its effect was heaven-defying. It could allow a peak vein-opening cultivator to break through to the harmonious spirit realm with a 100% success rate. However, there were very few people who could refine this pill because in order to refine this pill, one needed to master a special alchemy technique. Fire and water coexist. No one in Yu country knew how to refine pills. Even in the entire Rain Immortal world, only a few people knew how to refine pills. At the very least, Xueqing wouldn't. He looked at the pill bottle that contained the profound spirit pill, almost wanting to immediately snatch it and analyze it. But after thinking about it, he decided to forget about it. This was the pill that Ning Fan had given to Nan Wei. Out of respect for Ning Fan, Nan Wei would not snatch it from him. Nan Wei had never thought that the young lord would bestow such a precious pill to him without hesitation. At this moment, his heart was filled with even more respect and gratitude towards Ning Fan. Thank you for the medicine, young master. Ning Fan nodded his head lightly. He seemed to have thought of something and added, "Oh right, I will be concocting pills in the Dan Palace for half a month. After half a month, I think you will have successfully broken through to the harmonious spirit realm. Come to the Dan Palace and wait for me. I have something for you to do." The thing that Ning Fan wanted Nan Wei to do was naturally to send the finished pills back to Ning City. Because of the Bone Sovereign, he wasn't willing to return to Ning City at this time, in case the missing Bone Sovereign pointed the spearhead at Ji He and the others. Naturally, Nan Wei agreed to Ning Fan's request. After Ning Fan entered the Dan Palace, Xueqing's indifferent face squeezed out a stiff smile for the first time at Nan Wei. Little friend seems to have a good relationship with Elder Ning. Senior can just call me Nan Wei. Junior doesn't deserve the title of little friend. Nan Wei was at a loss of how to respond to Xueqing's sudden change of attitude. Hee, little friend seems to be here to concoct pills? Come in. This old man will open a primary concoction room for you. Xueqing's change of attitude was only directed at Nan Wei. The other inner sect disciples who wanted to concoct pills still couldn't enter the Dan Palace. They cast envious eyes at Nan Wei because even fools could see that the reason why Xueqing was so polite to Nan Wei was because of Ning Fan. This Nan Wei is really lucky to have a relationship with Elder Ning. Ning Fan got what he wanted this time. He was given a high-grade concoction room which allowed him to concoct pills using the third-grade earth fire. This time, he planned to stay in the concoction room for half a month to concoct all the third revolution pills he needed. Xueqing's respect had caught Ning Fan's attention. According to Xueqing's character, he would only show respect to a grand master alchemist. Could it be that Xueqing had seen through my true concoction technique? No, I haven't exposed my concoction technique in front of him. He shouldn't know about it, but if he knows that I'm a fourth revolution pill master, will there be some changes in his plan? Something out of the ordinary must be a demon. Ning Fan looked at the deep green earth fire and pondered for a long time before sweeping away the worries in his heart. If Xueqing really had any conspiracy, he wouldn't be afraid of him. Compared to Bone Sovereign, Xueqing wasn't a threat at all. He patted his storage pouch and took out the Dan fragmentation cauldron. Then he flicked his sleeve and took out several stalks of 500-year-old and 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs. As Ning Fan's magical power increased, he was able to control the Dan fragmentation cauldron with ease. Only gold core old monsters could control a high-grade magical treasure with their vast magical power. Ning Fan's magical power had already reached the basic requirement to use it. Stalks of spiritual herbs were thrown into the cauldron. Wisps of medicinal qi spread out in all directions. A third-grade earth fire could even incinerate a gold-core old monster if one wasn't careful. But in Ning Fan's hand, a trace of black flame had completely subdued the earth fire. In the concoction room, Ning Fan went into seclusion for half a month. For half a month, Xue Qing stood outside the concoction room like a clay statue, guarding Ning Fan. From time to time, he would extend his nose and sniff the air. Each time, he would show a different look of surprise and delight. Third Revolution Pill, Dragon Saliva Pill. This is a peak Third Revolution Pill, Violet Golden Pill. What kind of medicinal fragrance is this? It seems to be a Third Revolution Pill. I reckon that it's a pill used to protect the meridians. Oh? This is Flesh-Growing Pill. This pill seems to be used to nourish a woman's body. TSK, this Elder Ning is really a playboy. I wonder what this pill will do. Impossible. I can't be wrong about this smell. Thunder Pill. This old man has only seen this pill in an ancient remnant scroll. And this is. One had to admit that Xue Qing's sense of smell was heaven-defying. He was able to infer Ning Fan's concoction process just from a trace of formation and an insignificant pill fragrance. His heart was more certain that Ning Fan was a Fourth Revolution Pill master. This time, he had at least 90% confidence. Because no other Third Revolution Pill master had Ning Fan's speed and exquisite technique. Even the Fourth Revolution Pill master that Xue Qing had met before couldn't compare to Ning Fan in terms of speed and success rate. As for Xue Qing, he had more things to think about. If Ning Fan was really a Fourth Revolution Pill master, would he be the same person as the rumored Black Devil Ning? A Fourth Revolution Pill master was even rarer than a nascent soul expert. It was impossible for two Fourth Revolution Pill masters to appear in Yu country at the same time. Moreover, it was such a coincidence that they were a grandfather and a grandson. If that was the case, then Ning Fan had deceived the entire country with a lame lie. Although the lie was lame, compared to a 17-year-old Fourth Revolution Pill master, most of the people were willing to believe that there was a Black Devil Ning in this world. You could see that Ning Fan had killed people like cutting grass, but Xue Qing could see Ning Fan's true concoction technique. From this, one could tell that no one in the cultivation world could be underestimated. Even if one was cautious, there was no guarantee that the secret wouldn't be leaked. Fortunately, Xue Qing wasn't interested in Ning Fan's true identity. What he was concerned about was where Ning Fan learned his pill refinement techniques from. While Xue Qing was waiting bitterly, a formation light flashed. After half a month of silence, the stone door of the concoction room opened with a loud bang. Ning Fan walked out of the concoction room, bathed in a rich medicinal fragrance. Half a month of continuous concoction had made him extremely tired, but his magical power had improved a little because of the consumption of the concoction. Therefore, his aura had become more stable. Ning Fan cupped his fists at Xue Qing. When he was about to leave, Xue Qing pulled his sleeve. Elder Ning is a Fourth Revolution Pill master. Xue Qing transmitted his voice to Ning Fan. So what if I am? So what if I'm not? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Was this Xue Qing finally going to reveal his intention? However, he didn't know whether it was a good or bad intention. If Elder Ning is a Fourth Revolution Pill master, then this old man has 3 benefits to give to Elder Ning. What are the 3 benefits? I'd like to hear the details. Ning Fan's eyes relaxed a little. It seemed like this Xue Qing didn't have any hostility towards him. However, Ning Fan still couldn't figure out what Xue Qing was planning to do to him. The first benefit is far away, but it's right in front of your eyes. If Elder Ning is a Fourth Revolution Pill master, then this old man is willing to be your cauldron boy. This old man is an intermediate Third Revolution Pill master, an early gold core expert. Isn't it a benefit to be willing to be Elder Ning's cauldron boy? Oh? Elder Xue really knows how to joke. You are a dignified senior. How can you be my cauldron boy? Not to mention that I'm not a Fourth Revolution Pill master. Even if I am, I don't think it's an advantage for Elder to be my cauldron boy. Look at the cauldron. What Elder wants to see isn't the cauldron fire, but my concoction technique. Ning Fan revealed a faint smile. His words had exposed Xue Qing's intention. It turned out that Xue Qing was coveting his concoction technique. Hee, being a cauldron boy can't move Elder Ning? AI, forget it. In order to learn concoction technique, this old man will go all out. If Elder Ning is really a fourth revolution pill master, I, Xue Qing, am willing to be Elder Ning's disciple. I will let Elder Ning plant a restrictive spell on me to control my life and death. Cough, cough, cough. This time, Ning Fan was choked by Xue Qing's words. Although he was a schemer, he never expected that Xue Qing would be willing to be his disciple in order to learn concoction technique from him. This Xue Qing seemed to be very reckless in doing things. Ning Fan didn't care whether he accepted a disciple or not. However, he would be able to obtain an early gold core helper for free. Moreover, the helper was a third revolution Dan master. What he cared more about were the three benefits that Xue Qing mentioned. The first benefit was that Xue Qing had sold himself to Ning Fan. He didn't know what the other two benefits were. In any case, it would be a waste not to accept the benefits that were delivered to his doorstep. Hee, Master seems to be very interested in the first benefit. That's good, that's good. Xue Qing had already called Ning Fan his master, as if he was afraid that Ning Fan would go back on his words. After all, Ning Fan was the only fourth revolution pill master in Yu country. If Xue Qing missed out on Ning Fan, he wouldn't be able to find a second master to improve his concoction technique for the rest of his life. He was too passionate about concoction, just like how Elder Meng Chu was passionate about the Tao of tea. The second benefit, disciple had obtained an ancient remnant scroll by chance a few hundred years ago. It recorded the ancient concoction technique and even mentioned some methods to advance to fifth revolution pill master. If master is really a fourth revolution pill master, you will surely be interested in this benefit. What? The method to break through to the fifth revolution pill master? This time, even Ning Fan found it hard to remain calm and collected. Ever since he obtained the inheritance of ancient chaos, he could only reach the fourth revolution pill master. There seemed to be a barrier that he couldn't break through to the fifth revolution. It would be a lie if he said that he didn't want to break through to the fifth revolution pill master. Without pills, Ning Fan wouldn't be able to break through to the peak of harmonious spirit realm in such a short period of time. He didn't expect Xue Qing to offer him a pillow when he wanted to sleep. Not only did he sell himself to Ning Fan, but he also gave him the method to break through to the fifth revolution pill refinement realm. It might not be a bad thing to accept this disciple. After all, this Xue Qing knows how to be filial to his master. What Ning Fan cared about was the third benefit that Xue Qing gave him. The first benefit was that Xue Qing sold himself. The second benefit was that Xue Qing gave him the method to break through to the fifth revolution pill master. What good thing would he give him for the third benefit? The third benefit is a pill? No, it's not accurate to call it a pill. To be precise, it's a pill devil. Xue Qing's words came to an end, but for the first time, Ning Fan's expression changed. Is it really a pill devil? Absolutely. Ning Fan couldn't help but be moved. A pill devil was a high-grade pill. Due to the passage of time, it had developed spiritual wisdom and turned into a demon. The conditions for a pill to become a pill devil were extremely harsh. The most important condition was that the pill must at least reach the fifth revolution pill. Xue Qing actually wanted to give Ning Fan a pill that was above the fifth revolution. The only thing that concerned Ning Fan was that he didn't know what cultivation realm the pill devil had reached. If it was beyond the gold core realm, Ning Fan wouldn't take it even if it was extremely precious. Chapter 92. In the inner hall of the Pill Palace, Xue Qing raised his old face and closed his eyes. He allowed Ning Fan to plant a mental seal on him, leaving his life in Ning Fan's hands. Xue Qing understood that he had found out the secret of Ning Fan's fourth revolution Dan refinement technique. He had even guessed Ning Fan's identity as Black Devil Ning. Among demonic cultivators, prying into the secrets of others was a great taboo. Therefore, he consciously handed over his life and willingly became Ning Fan's eldest disciple. He, Xue Qing, could be considered a reputable figure in the Yu Kingdom. Was it a loss for him to become a young disciple? It was not a loss. In just a short period of contact, Xue Qing could see that Ning Fan was not only easygoing but also extremely generous to his subordinates. For example, against Nan Wei, the first thing he did was to use the Yu country's peerless medicinal pill, the profound spirit pill. This kid might be ruthless to his enemies, but he was never stingy to his own people. Xue Qing had lived for several hundred years and had seen countless people. He believed that he didn't misjudge Ning Fan. He also believed that the old monster was very satisfied with Ning Fan's character. Giving his life to Ning Fan might seem dangerous, but after some analysis, as long as he doesn't offend Ning Fan too much, he wouldn't be in any danger at all. As for himself, he would be able to obtain Ning Fan's wholehearted pill concoction techniques and break through to the 4th revolution or even the 5th revolution. Yes, Xue Qing was extremely ambitious when it came to the Tao of alchemy. He hoped to reach the pinnacle of the Tao of alchemy. Therefore, he risked universal condemnation and opened the lid of the cauldron to observe the formation of the medicinal pill with his naked eyes. This was extremely dangerous. The energy used to refine pills was extremely violent. If one was not careful, they would definitely go blind. But Xue Qing was someone who was so obsessed with alchemy. In order to improve his own alchemy skills, he had to improve his master's alchemy skills first. Therefore, he obediently handed over an ancient pill scroll that he had kept for many years and provided a clue about a pill devil. What? The profound Yin Qi is in the Dark Sparrow's grave, and there is a pill devil there. Reporting to Master, there is indeed such a thing. I saw it with my own eyes. I'm afraid that other than me, even the sect master might not know about it. Then why did you tell me? You are my master. Haha. If you kill that Dan devil and obtain that medicinal pill, you will definitely give your disciple some soup to drink. Master, I think highly of you. Xue Qing laughed without any conscience. Ning Fan held a tattered ancient scroll with a green cover and asked Xue Qing about pill devil Xue Qing. The ancient scroll seemed to be left behind by an ancient 5th revolution pill master. It recorded many kinds of ancient pills. Other than those that Ning Fan knew, there was also a 4th revolution pill for fiend god body refinement, yellow turban pill. According to legend, this pill was used by the ancient celestial court to raise yellow turban strongmen. It was a secret medicine. At the very least, ancient chaos didn't know the prescription. It was really a stroke of luck for Ning Fan to be able to obtain this prescription by chance. Although the yellow turban pill was far inferior to the jade royal pill, it was still considered a precious medicine. If he could successfully concoct it, Ning Fan was confident that even if he didn't take the 4th Jade Royal Dan, he could still break through the Silver Light Body Refinement realm and reach the true Silver Bone realm. At that time, he would be able to fight against nascent soul experts with just his physical strength. The only pity was that the main ingredient of the yellow turban pill was missing an extinct spirit medicine, the fire maple fruit. This fruit seemed to have appeared in Yu country before, but it had disappeared once again. Ning Fan did not know that the Ning city he occupied was originally the place where the fire maple fruits grew. He put aside the matter of the yellow turban pill and thought about another matter. Pill devil. Xue Qing told Ning Fan that there was a pill devil in Sinister Sparrow sect who could transform into a human form. According to Xue Qing, the pill devil could kill a gold core old monster with a single punch. The pill devil was located in the first secret place of Sinister Sparrow sect, the Dark Sparrow's grave. According to legend, a dark sparrow had fallen in the Dark Sparrow Valley where Sinister Sparrow sect was located. In the memory of ancient chaos, the Dark Sparrow seemed to be a true spirit that was comparable to a true immortal. The strong ones were even comparable to true dragons and true phoenixes. The old ancestor of the Four Heavens immortal world, Kei Shensi, seemed to have chosen this place to establish his sect because of the remains of the Dark Sparrow. There was a Dark Sparrow's grave 100,000 zhang under the Dark Sparrow Valley. It had 9 floors. The Dark Sparrow's grave was filled with Yin Qi. It could double the cultivation speed of evil techniques. It could be said that the reason why the entire Sinister Sparrow sect was shrouded by Yin Qi and dense spiritual Qi had nothing to do with the earth vein. It was all because of the true spirit Dark Sparrow buried here. The remains of the Dark Sparrow were sealed in the 9th floor of the underground. There was a true immortal level seal planted by Kei Shensi. There were void fragmentation old monsters from Rain Immortal World who wanted to seize the bones, but most of them couldn't even enter the 7th floor, let alone seize the bones. As for the profound yin qi that Ning Fan had been longing for, it was hidden in the 5th floor of the Dark Sparrow's grave. It seemed to be hidden so well that even void fragmentation old monsters couldn't find it. Dark Sparrow's grave was only accessible to a few of the higher-ups of Sinister Sparrow sect. The first condition to enter was to swear the great oath of Heart Devil. Never betray Sinister Sparrow sect. Never reveal the secret of Dark Sparrow's grave to outsiders. As for the Pill Devil, it had only appeared in recent decades. The outside world didn't know about it at all. Only Xueqing saw it. He still remembered that night when he entered the 3rd floor of Dark Sparrow's grave alone. The air in that place was exceptionally cold and gloomy, making me feel extremely uncomfortable. I was in seclusion under a withered old tree. Beside me were skeletons who had been dead for God knows how many years. The surroundings were dark and there was a stench of rotting vegetation. Suddenly, a cold wind blew past. Rustling footsteps could be heard in the darkness. The footsteps were very light. It seemed to be a woman. There was a very fragrant smell coming from her body. It smelled like a 5th revolution pill. I rejoiced and suddenly turned around. Guess what I saw? Xueqing tried his best to describe the incident that night in an extremely terrifying manner. However, Ning Fan was still expressionless like a zombie. You saw the Pill Devil. Ning Fan said seriously. I'll continue. Xueqing choked. Why is this Ning Fan more rigid than this old man? He doesn't know how to joke. As soon as I turned around, a woman's face full of blood approached me from behind. She revealed her white teeth and gave me a strange sneer. She didn't have any feet. Without feet, how did she walk? Xueqing wanted to tell more ghost stories, but unfortunately, he was interrupted by Ning Fan at this point. She flew, which means that her magical power is at least at the harmonious spirit realm. You also said that her strength is strong enough to destroy a gold core with a single punch. This Pill Devil isn't simple. With my current strength, it won't be easy to take her down. But if she's a woman, forget it. The Pill Devil has the body of a pill. It only has the shape of a woman. Without a woman's body, the yin plucking finger might not be effective. Ning Fan pondered for a moment and continued. Moreover, the Pill Devil is very powerful. But you didn't die when you saw her. This shows that the Pill Devil isn't someone who is easy to kill. She let you go, but you still tried to seize her pill body. You are a little immoral. Ning Fan's words carried a trace of reproach. Xueqing felt ashamed when he heard it. Although devil cultivators were ruthless and unscrupulous, the key to reaching the pinnacle of devil cultivation was the Tao of Devils. At least, repaying kindness with enmity was more shameful than being a thief among devil cultivators. However, it was understandable that Xueqing was greedy for the Pill Devil. After all, the Pill Devil was most likely a 5th revolution pill. Master will handle the Pill Devil as you see fit. This disciple won't interrupt. Xueqing smiled. For the first time, a trace of respect rose in his heart for Ning Fan. This respect had nothing to do with cultivation base. It was just his personality. To be honest, Ning Fan's reputation wasn't good. Because of his dual cultivation method, many people in the sect were pointing fingers at him. However, due to Ning Fan's tyrannical reputation, no one dared to offend him. But today, Xueqing found out that Ning Fan was a devil cultivator with principles. He might be ruthless in killing people and plucking the women in the world, but he had his own principles: never kill a benefactor. Xueqing asked himself, if the other old monsters in the cultivation world knew about the Pill Devil, they would definitely flock to this place. Whether it was kindness or enmity, nothing was more practical than a 5th revolution pill. Ning Fan's heart was much firmer than those old monsters. Forget it. Don't talk nonsense about this matter. It's just a 5th revolution pill. Master will concoct one for you sooner or later. What's the fuss? What? Master is willing to give me a 5th revolution pill? Xueqing's eyes shone like a hungry wolf. Even though it was just an empty promise, Xueqing knew that Ning Fan was a man of principle. He would certainly keep his words. As long as Ning Fan broke through to the 5th revolution pill master realm, He would definitely give him a 5th revolution pill. If he obtained a 5th revolution pill, he would definitely not eat it. He would keep it as a family treasure and study it carefully for generations to come. It was the right choice to acknowledge Ning Fan as his master. Ning Fan was really generous to him. Although it was just an empty promise, but you will have to provide the medicinal ingredients for the 5th revolution pill yourself. Alright, let's go to the outer hall. I guess Nan Wei is already waiting for me. Ning Fan teased and took the lead to leave, leaving Xue Qing behind. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. 5th revolution pill? I have to gather the medicinal ingredients myself, but to concoct a 5th revolution pill, I need at least 5,000 years old spiritual herbs. I can't even get a single stalk even if I sell myself. I'll try to please Ning Fan again. I'll just let him use the medicinal ingredients to concoct the pills. He's a 4th revolution pill master after all. When he breaks through to the 5th revolution, he won't lack money. Chapter 93. In the outer hall of the Dan Palace, Nan Wei had been waiting for a long time. In fact, he had broken through to the harmonious spirit realm in just 9 days after taking the profound spirit pill. This news had caused quite a stir in Sinister Sparrow sect. At this moment, Nan Wei was still wearing a green robe, sitting on a rattan chair, but his bearing was calm, much more like his father's style. After breaking through to the harmonious spirit realm, his heart was filled with the heroic spirit of a young man. Now, he was considered as one of the top experts in Sinister Sparrow sect. He really wanted to know how big the gap was between him and the young lord, the #1 expert under the Gold Core realm. After waiting bitterly, Ning Fan and Xue Qing finally walked out of the inner hall. The moment Ning Fan appeared, Nan Wei's eyes lit up. He slightly released his qi, trying to compete with Ning Fan. But immediately, his qi was disintegrated by Ning Fan's invisible qi. In just one exchange, all of his confidence had turned into a bitter smile. I'm not as good as the young lord. Nan Wei put away all his thoughts and stood up to greet Ning Fan. Nan Wei greets the young lord. Thank you for the gift of medicine. Ning Fan naturally felt Nan Wei's probing, but he didn't care. On the contrary, he was very satisfied with Nan Wei's calm, harmonious spirit qi. Oh, you have broken through to the harmonious spirit realm? Not bad. Your qi is very calm, without the emptiness of taking the pills. It seems like you have been diligent in your cultivation. Very good. If so, I will entrust you with a task. Bring this batch of pills and magical treasures back to Ning City and hand them over to your father. Ning Fan waved his hand, took out a snow-white storage pouch and threw it to Nan Wei. Inside the pouch, there were countless pill bottles full of various pills and magical treasures. Outside the pouch, there were several spirit sense forces. The only thing that made Nan Wei feel strange was that there was sword intent in the spirit sense forces. This was the first time he had seen such a thing in his life. In addition, there was a letter in the pouch. In the letter, Nan Gong explained how to distribute the pills and train the 3 divine guards. There was also a systematic plan for the cultivation of the 3rd commander. If it wasn't for the sneak attack of Bone Emperor, Ning Fan would have returned to Ning City personally. But if he left Sinister Sparrow sect under the watchful eyes of Bone Emperor, he would implicate Ning City. Therefore, he ordered Nan Wei to make a trip to deliver the medicine. Nan Wei didn't dare to refuse the young lord's order. He retreated almost immediately. He went to the sect to apply for a departure order and hurried back to Ning City. After Nan Wei left, in the Pill Palace, Xue Qing had an unfinished expression. His eyes were filled with worry. He could smell that the storage pouch that Nan Wei took away contained a terrifying amount of pills. Almost all of them were concocted by Ning Fan in the Dan Palace. The fact that Ning Fan was willing to give so many pills to his subordinates made Xue Qing witness his generosity once again. However, there was one thing that Xue Qing did not understand. Why would he let an early harmonious spirit expert like Nan Wei transport so many pills back to Ning City? One should know that the distance between Sinister Sparrow sect and Ning City was actually several territories where bandits roamed. Every bandit was a reckless outlaw. Once they knew that Nan Wei had a large amount of pills with him, they would definitely kill him and seize his treasures. The distance between Sinister Sparrow Sect and Ning City was less than 1,000 miles. Why didn't Ning Fan make a trip there personally? Master, isn't it too rash to ask Nan Wei to deliver the medicine to Ning City? Along the way, we'll have to pass through several territories where bandits roam. It's not very peaceful. There are even gold core old monsters who have changed their surnames to become bandits. The bandits that Xueqing mentioned were rogue cultivators who specialized in killing others and seizing their treasures. Facing the elusive bandits, a mere Nan Wei was probably not enough to deal with them. Ning Fan didn't explain too much about Xueqing's worries. He only said indifferently, "Those bandits will die if they have any ideas about my pills." When Ning Fan said those words, there was a smile on his face. However, Xueqing felt a sharp killing intent that was as sharp as a sword. After all, Ning Fan had planted several sword senses on the storage pouch. After leaving the Pill Palace, Ning Fan returned to the Dual Cultivation Palace and began to adjust his breath to recover the magic power and physical strength that he had consumed in concocting pills for half a month. Consuming pills would cause one's magic power to be weak. However, concocting pills in large quantities could make one's magic power more condensed. There was a principle in concocting pills and consuming pills. The mystery of the Tao of alchemy was boundless and profound. It was difficult to make a breakthrough in concocting pills. Ning Fan used the memory of ancient chaos to reach the 4th revolution pill concoction realm, but he couldn't touch the threshold of the 5th revolution pill concoction realm. It was as if something was missing. On the bed, Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the ancient pill scroll that Xueqing gave him. He read the experience of the 5th revolution pill master. It mentioned that one needed to comprehend the void spirit intent to concoct a 5th revolution pill. Void spirit intent. I see. It seems like I won't be able to concoct a 5th revolution pill unless I break through to the spirit-severing realm. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. The void spirit intent was also known as the divine intent by some cultivators. It was a very abstruse ability that could only be comprehended by spirit-severing realm cultivators who were at the 5th realm of cultivation. Every cultivator had their own hobbies and experiences. For example, if Elder Meng Chu of the Merit Palace had a chance to break through to the spirit-severing realm, he would most likely comprehend the divine intent of teach because he loved drinking tea too much. As for Elder Xueqing of the Pill Palace, if he was lucky enough to break through to the spirit-severing realm, he would most likely comprehend the divine intent of pills. That was because this guy was obsessed with alchemy. He was so obsessed with it. In short, except for a few cultivators who had great luck, one must reach the spirit-severing realm in order to comprehend the divine intent. Of course, in the memory of ancient chaos, there was a mention of a type of divine intent stone that could bestow a cultivator with the divine intent, but it seemed to have disappeared for many years. Ning Fan's luck wasn't small, but if he wanted to comprehend the divine intent, he would have to cultivate step by step until he reached the spirit-severing realm. As for breaking through to the 5th revolution pill concoction realm, it seemed like he could only wait until he reached the spirit-severing realm. He was truly helpless about this. But cultivation had always been such an unsatisfactory thing. After keeping the ancient pill scroll, Ning Fan held his breath and began to adjust his qi, waiting for the night to come. He was about to enter seclusion, and this seclusion would probably last for half a year. He had promised to treat Lan Mei's illness. Now that he had gotten the pill, it was time to solve Miss Lan Mei's problem. The process of treating that secret place was too erotic, and it wasn't good to let others know. Therefore, Ning Fan decided to wait for the night to come. Unfortunately, before he could adjust his qi for long, a female disciple had reported the news of Ning Fan's return to Bailu. Thus, this troublesome woman came again. Humph! Ning Fan, how dare you disappear for half a month? As a cauldron, don't you know that you should appear at the first moment when your master needs to be plucked? There was a trace of resentment in her bright eyes, but there was also a trace of hidden joy. As soon as she saw Ning Fan, she immediately threw herself into his arms, her eyes blurred. Lie down. Sister is going to pluck you. So troublesome? Fine, let's dual cultivate. This way, I can recover my strength faster than meditating. Ning Fan didn't say anything else. He turned around and pressed Bai Lu down. Bai Lu obviously didn't expect Ning Fan's rough action. What surprised her even more was that Ning Fan seemed to be a peak harmonious spirit expert. Her beautiful face changed color, faintly realizing that she was fooled by Ning Fan. This Ning Fan obviously didn't pluck her energy, yet he pretended to be her cauldron, deceiving her and making love with her every night. This was simply shameless. Impossible. I have obviously plucked you, your cultivation should have decreased greatly. But why did you still break through to the peak harmonious spirit realm? She wanted to curse, but her mouth was blocked. She wanted to push Ning Fan away, but along with a stinging pain, her body gradually became soft and weak. All of her dissatisfaction turned into soft moans. Damn it. Ah, don't touch here. Bai Lu's slender snow-white legs were firmly held by Ning Fan's shoulder. After that, there was no more after that. As night fell, Bai Lu, with a happy and sweet smile on her face, once again fell asleep from exhaustion. As for Ning Fan, he felt refreshed, swept away the tiredness of half a month. He changed his clothes and went to the inner sect female palace to treat Lan Mei's illness. Tonight, Ning Fan was still enjoying himself, but other places were glowing with blood. The cultivation world was like this. There was a paradise, but there was also a boundless sea of blood. In a certain cultivation family, Wang Yao appeared in the night, waved his hand, and slaughtered an entire small cultivation family. In the night 100 miles away from Sinister Sparrow sect, a young man named Nan Wei was also fated with the blood. He was 100 miles away from Sinister Sparrow sect, rushing back to Ning City as fast as lightning. But after he was 100 miles away, he faintly felt that he was being followed. Could it be that those who are following me are bandits? Nan Wei's face was extremely ugly. He had heard about the savagery of bandits, but he didn't expect that one day he would be targeted by one of them. But soon, his eyes narrowed, revealing a trace of ruthlessness. I don't know what's the cultivation base of the bandit who is targeting me. If it's an early harmonious spirit, I can kill him. If it's an intermediate harmonious spirit, I can still protect myself. But if it's a late harmonious spirit, humph, no matter what, I, Nan Wei, must complete the young master's task and send the pills back to Ning City, even if it means death. Nan Wei's eyes were resolute. He stepped on the sky without any fear. Along the way, he changed his route many times, but the feeling of being tracked still didn't disappear. When they arrived at a desolate valley, a black shadow suddenly appeared out of nowhere and blocked Nan Wei's path. Nan Wei halted his steps and took out his magical treasure, knowing that he couldn't run away from this battle. Under the waning moon, a silver-robed old man was standing in the sky. Although he was old, his body was extremely tall and sturdy. There were 9 scars on his face, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. A mere early harmonious spirit cultivator actually dares to carry such a large amount of pills on a trip. You are simply courting death. Fine, let me, sword maniac Shinshang Zi, teach you the principle of an innocent man will get into trouble because of his wealth. The silver-robed old man let out a cold humph. With the pressure of a peak harmonious spirit cultivator, he pressed down on Nan Wei. Under the pressure, Nan Wei's qi and blood surged, almost falling from the sky. He hastily retreated a few dozen meters, creating a distance between him and the old man. Fortunately, he didn't fall from the cloud, but his figure was extremely miserable. At the same time, he was complaining incessantly in his heart. The one who stopped him wasn't an early, intermediate, or even late harmonious spirit cultivator, but a peak harmonious spirit old monster. Sword maniac Shinshang Zi. He never thought that he would be targeted by such a ruthless person. Legend has it that this person was a rogue cultivator, but his sword cultivation was extremely high, and his character was even more ruthless. He had killed or not killed the disciples of sects and clans, and was wanted by countless sections. Facing such a person, Ning Cheng's name couldn't save him, and he couldn't possibly be a match for this sword maniac. It was said that this Shinshang Zi had once escaped from the pursuit of 3 peak harmonious spirit experts with serious injuries, but of the 3 experts who pursued him, 2 died and 1 was injured. The 9 sword scars were left behind at that time. The most taboo thing to do when killing someone for treasures was to leave one's name behind. This was an extremely stupid act, but Shen Shangzi would leave his name behind every time he killed someone. That was because the people he killed were all people he thought he could definitely kill after careful consideration. As long as there was a trace of uncertainty, he wouldn't make a move. For example, when Ning Fan was an intermediate harmonious spirit cultivator, he didn't dare to make a move. Ning Fan gave him an unfathomable feeling, but Nan Wei was too weak. Obviously, he had just broken through to the early harmonious spirit realm. I have 9 strands of sword chi in my body, but I only need 1 sword to kill you. Shen Shangzi looked at Nan Wei with disdain and sneered. He flicked his finger, and a strand of sword chi that he had cultivated for many years came out from his finger with a clear sword cry. Immediately, a 300-meter-long sword light appeared in the sky under the waning moon, glowing with blue flames and slashed at Nan Wei. He would definitely die. Nan Wei's face was filled with despair, but he gritted his teeth and decided to burn his soul to stimulate his magical power. Soul ignition. This technique was passed down by Nan Wei's father, Nan Gong. Once used, unless a true immortal saved him, he would definitely die. By burning his soul, he would never enter the reincarnation cycle, but he could stimulate his magical power and break through a small realm. If that was the case, Nan Wei would temporarily possess the magical power of an intermediate harmonious spirit expert. Perhaps it still wouldn't be enough to defeat Shen Shangzi, but he would have a 30% chance of bringing the pills back to Ning City. After that, he would definitely die and never enter the reincarnation cycle, disappearing from heaven and earth. However, just before Nan Wei decided to ignite his soul, an invisible force of divine sense shot out from his storage bag. It was like a sword chi. Under this spirit sense, the 300-meter-long sword light that was slashing at Nan Wei trembled slightly as if it had encountered something extremely terrifying. In the next moment, it was swept by the spirit sense and exploded into countless blue flames. Impossible! This old man's blue flame sword chi was actually shattered by you. Hateful! Brat, what have you done? Shen Shangzi spurted out a mouthful of blood as his natal sword chi was destroyed. He was enraged by the backlash. But before he could finish his roar, he was swept by the spirit sense of the sword chi. For the first time in his life, the arrogant Shen Shangzi revealed a shocked expression. He had a deep understanding of the Tao of sword and had obtained an inheritance of sword techniques from the sword immortal world by chance. It mentioned the strange divine ability in front of him. No, this is impossible. This is sword sense. Sword sense. Only those who had condensed sword sense in their sea of consciousness could use it. It was too late for Shen Shangzi to regret. He could faintly feel that the spirit sense that shrouded him was indeed sword sense. And this spirit sense was so strong that it could easily kill an early gold core cultivator. Let me go. After a blood-curdling scream, Shen Shangzi's powerful physical body was slashed into a bloody pulp for no reason. Along with the remaining 8 strands of sword chi, they were all shattered. Shocking! Nan Wei was completely stunned. Even the countless bandits who were hiding in the dark, ready to take a share of the loot after Shen Shangzi killed him, were all stunned. Those with discerning eyes could see that it wasn't Nan Wei who killed Shen Shangzi, but the spirit sense that spread out from Nan Wei's storage pouch. It was common knowledge that spirit sense couldn't kill people, but this spirit sense could actually kill a peak harmonious spirit Shen Shangzi in 1 round. And it seemed that the spirit sense sword chi could even kill an early gold core cultivator and seriously injure an intermediate gold core cultivator. What kind of expert could have such a terrifying spirit sense? Nascent soul old monster or spirit severing old monster? The bandits who were hiding in the dark looked at Nan Wei's storage pouch with fear. There seemed to be a few more spirit senses on the storage pouch. In other words, Nan Wei could still kill a few more early gold core old monsters. Moreover, even if his spirit sense was used up, it was hard to guarantee that there weren't any other tricks in the storage pouch. Each of the bandits had complicated thoughts. They didn't dare to snatch the huge amount of pills that were passing by them. They were all rogue cultivators and not fools. Whoever rushed in first would definitely end up like Shen Shangzi. Therefore, no one dared to have any ideas about Nan Wei. Forget it. The one who could plant such a spirit sense must be a peerless expert. Even if we snatch the pills, I'm afraid we will be hunted down endlessly. The old monsters above nascent soul old monsters are all very powerful. They can fly thousands of miles away with just a blink. If we are targeted by such an old monster, we will lose no matter how many lives we have. No one dared to have any ideas about Nan Wei anymore. The only thing that puzzled these old monsters was, could there be a nascent soul old monster hidden in Yu country? And this was hard to say. Who knew if there was a peerless old monster in seclusion deep in the mountains and forests? With Xin Shangzi as an example, Nan Wei rushed back to Ning City without any danger. At this moment, his mood was extremely unsettled. He realized that the strength of the young master was far beyond his understanding. A spirit sense could kill a gold core old monster. Nan Wei sucked in a breath of cold air. This was a technique that was only recorded in legends, but it was actually mastered by the young master. The young master is actually so powerful. I, Nan Wei, am really lucky to be able to serve him as my master. This was the true terror of the sword sense. It could kill the enemy without leaving a trace. Chapter 94. Under the night sky, Ning Fan pushed open the door and left the dual cultivation palace. He didn't know that the sword sense he planted on the storage pouch had shocked countless bandits. He traversed through the valley. Lan Mei resided in the female hall, which seemed to be the residence of all the female disciples besides the dual cultivation hall. To reach the female hall, one must first pass through the deacon hall. Occasionally, there were deacons and disciples who were patrolling the streets. When they saw Ning Fans, they would salute respectfully. Greetings, Elder Ning. And you may dispense with the formalities. Ning Fan had already gotten used to the identity of an elder. He was indifferent to the reverence of the crowd. This was the world of cultivation, where one's strength determined one's treatment. The leaves of the forest were sparse, and the moonlight shrouded the dark clouds. Ning Fan passed through the deacon hall and went through the bamboo forest behind the hall. But when he went deep into the forest, he suddenly stopped. His eyes turned cold and spat out the starlight sword shadow without hesitation. His eyes were filled with fear as he gazed into the depths of the bamboo forest. Who's here? His face turned serious as if he was facing a formidable enemy. His eyes were filled with extreme alertness that he had only seen in the demon's sinister forest. Ning Fan felt that there was a person hiding in the bamboo forest in front of him who could pose a great threat to him. In the sparse forest, a gray-robed young man with an ordinary appearance walked out of the bamboo forest. When he saw Ning Fan, his expression was slightly strange as if he didn't expect to meet Ning Fan on his way back to the Deacon Palace. "It's him," both of them said in their hearts at the same time. Ning Fan had some impression of this gray-robed young man. He was the disciple whose result was only second to him in the demon's sinister forest, Wang Yao. Wang Yao was promoted to a deacon disciple with a harmonious spirit cultivation. It wasn't strange for him to appear outside the deacon hall. It seemed like he was worrying too much. However, Wang Yao's blood qi was very strong. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Inwardly he was shocked. There was an invisible killing intent and blood qi on Wang Yao's body. It was a deterring feeling that could only be condensed after killing countless people. It was this deterrence that made Ning Fan feel extremely dangerous even before he met Wang Yao. This person is not a harmonious spirit. Almost immediately, Ning Fan confirmed one thing. Wang Yao's cultivation was far above the harmonious spirit realm. Early-stage gold core. Ning Fan's expression didn't change, but his heart was secretly surprised. This Wang Yao was actually a gold core expert. Moreover, there was a trace of blood stench on this child's body that was so thick that it couldn't be dispersed. Furthermore, his magic power seemed to have been severely consumed. Could it be that he had gone somewhere to kill people? The killing must have been done outside of Sinister Sparrow Sect. Did this Wang Yao sneak out of Sinister Sparrow Sect? How did he do it? One should know that there was a grand formation in Sinister Sparrow Sect. If he left the sect, someone would be able to sense it. However, what he was more concerned about was that before Wang Yao showed himself, he felt an extreme sense of danger. That sense of danger caused his hair to stand on end and a chill to run down his spine. This kind of threatening feeling was not something that an early gold core expert could give Ning fans. This Wang Yao's strength isn't just at early gold core, and his purpose of coming to Sinister Sparrow sect shouldn't be simple. Should I investigate his background? Ning Fan was a little hesitant. Based on various clues, he deduced that Wang Yao in front of him couldn't be underestimated. Wang Yao's combat strength might even be above him. Probing this person's background was undoubtedly asking for trouble, and it was even possible that he would lose his life. If it was the previous Ning Fan, he certainly wouldn't poke his nose into other people's business, and he wouldn't care about the life and death of Sinister Sparrow sect. But now, his relationship with Lan Mei was getting more and more unclear. Once he married Lan Mei, Sinister Sparrow sect would become his second home. It didn't seem right to watch Sinister Sparrow sect having a hidden danger. Ning Fan's heart shuddered. He seemed to have made up his mind. His eyes swept across Wang Yao, but no one could tell whether he was happy or angry. When Wang Yao was being stared at by Ning Fan, he immediately put on a look of fear and trepidation. Deacon disciple Wang Yao greets Elder Ning. Is there anything that Elder needs this disciple to do? No need. Go back and have a rest. Yes. Wang Yao saluted respectfully and left. Ning Fan gave Wang Yao a deep look and left as well. But when Ning Fan walked out of the bamboo forest, Wang Yao's eyes shifted. The fear on his face disappeared and was replaced with a sneer. That was close. I didn't expect to meet this Ning Fan after I slaughtered the entire city and exhausted my magical power. As the saying goes, those who walk at night have no good intentions. I'm afraid that this kid is going to do some shady business. If he knows my true identity, I'm afraid that I'll be in danger. Unfortunately, he will never know that I'm Bone's sovereign unless he dies. Soon, I'll regain my intermediate gold core cultivation. It's only a few months before I reach the nascent soul realm. Once I regain my nascent soul realm, not only will I make Ning Fan pay with his life, I'll also flatten the entire Yu country and the entire Rain Immortal world. Wang Yao's sneer carried a trace of domineering aura. His ambition wasn't small. It was rare for a trace of his true soul to leave the demon sinister forest. No matter what, he wanted to flatten a few countries in the mortal world. He put away his expression and left the bamboo forest, walking towards the Deacon Palace with the footsteps of an ordinary disciple. However, after walking for a few hundred zhang, Wang Yao sensed that Ning Fan had already gone far away. He suddenly leaped forward and turned into an illusory light, ignoring the defensive formation of the Deacon Palace. He flew into the Deacon Palace without even using his waist token. This technique was the same as the small sable. It could ignore the defensive formation of the Spirit Realm Grand Formation. It's him. After Wang Yao left, Ning Fan's figure appeared out of nowhere. His eyes were filled with astonishment. Ning Fan's pretense of leaving was just a cover. After he went far away, he immediately used the false thought art to hide his figure and returned to follow Wang Yao. Ning Fan's false thought art wasn't powerful enough after consuming a piece of spirit refining leaf, but its effect was better than the profound gold spirit equipment. At least, Wang Yao didn't notice Ning Fan's return. Ning Fan couldn't bear to ignore the safety of Sinister Sparrow sect, so he decided to find out more about Wang Yao. Who would have thought that before this investigation even began, he would discover a shocking fact? Wang Yao had mastered the same divine ability as the Small Sable and Mei Chen, which allowed him to ignore the Spirit Realm Grand Formation. The moment he used this divine ability, a trace of his true qi leaked out. Ning Fan could recognize him even if he turned into ashes. Bone Emperor. I had never thought that Bone Emperor would be hiding under my nose. No wonder Wang Yao's performance was mediocre before, but he suddenly rose to prominence on the last day. It turns out that he was possessed by Bone Emperor's true soul. I wonder how much damage will he suffer if I kill this avatar of Bone Emperor. Cold light flickered in Ning Fan's eyes. He recalled the day when he was sneak attacked by Bone Emperor. If he wasn't careful, he would have died under Bone Emperor's claw. This time, Bone Emperor didn't seem to notice that Ning Fan had discovered his true identity. It seemed like it was his turn to sneak attack Bone Emperor. A bold idea arose in Ning Fan's mind. He would secretly follow Wang Yao when he left Sinister Sparrow's sect and kill him when his magical power was exhausted. Then he would be able to finish him off. Currently, Wang Yao had devoured countless flesh and blood. Although his magical power was exhausted, it had recovered a little. It wouldn't be easy to kill him. At least, Ning Fan wasn't 100% sure. To kill Bone Emperor, he must have a thorough plan. He must kill him in one strike. Today wasn't the best time. There would be plenty of opportunities in the future. Thanks to my concern for Sinister Sparrow sect, I discovered this big secret. Fine, I'll go find Lan Mei now and repay her kindness. She wouldn't be sleeping now, right? Ning Fan adjusted his expression and left the Deacon Palace with quick steps. The female palace was located in the most tranquil valley in the Dark Sparrow Valley. It was a place with beautiful mountains and clear waters. Between the mountain rocks and mist, there was a cool pond named Bright Moon Pond. Usually, there would be countless girls playing in the pond. But now, it was late at night. There was only one girl in thin blue robe sitting on a green rock, sighing while facing the moonlight. She was wearing a blue robe with her hair tied up high. There was a trace of cold arrogance between her brows. Her cheeks were slightly pale, revealing a trace of hidden bitterness. He won't come. He's a liar. I wonder if he's concocting pills in Dan Palace tonight or fooling around with that little demoness, Bai Lu. Damn it. How am I not as good as Bai Lu? Lan Mei's voice became softer and softer, turning into a bitter smile. Yes, I'm indeed not as good as Bai Lu. She's a healthy woman. I'm not. Lan Mei's hand moved to her lower body, but it wasn't for self-examination. She was just caressing her private part. Without experiencing it, one wouldn't be able to understand the pain. As for humans, they were even more contradictory. They hoped to be understood, but at the same time, they hoped to keep the secret from others. I'm not as good as her, but at least you should come to see me, but I know you won't come, she sighed softly, but her sigh was interrupted by a chuckle. Miss Lan Mei, it's my honor to see you under the moonlight. It was a teasing and indecent sentence, but it was the voice that Lan Mei had been waiting for. Her bright eyes were filled with a trace of embarrassment, but there was also a hint of joy in it. However, when she recalled that Ning Fan had seen her caressing her lower body and even teased her as self-examination, her face blushed all the way to her ears. I have never blasphemed myself. Only slutty women would do that. You've really never self-examination? How pitiful. Do you want me to help you? Ning Fan smiled playfully. He didn't know why, but he felt that it was very interesting to tease Lan Mei, even if it was just verbal teasing. Who needs your help? I can do it myself. No, I mean, I've never self-examination. Lan Mei bit her lips with her pearly white teeth. She was annoyed that she had been tricked by Ning Fan. Damn it. Why does this Ning Fan always like to talk about such shameful things in front of women? Moreover, the Bright Moon Pond was a place for women to bathe and play in the water. Naturally, women wouldn't wear any clothes when they were playing in the water. The female palace was a forbidden area of Sinister Sparrow sect. All men were forbidden to enter. And the Bright Moon Pond was the forbidden area of the forbidden area. This Ning Fan was really bold. How dare he come here? Lan Mei's face turned redder as she recalled that Ning Fan had seen her caressing her lower body. Sensing Lan Mei's shyness, Ning Fan stopped teasing her and changed the topic to Moon Breeze. What a good bright moon pond. The white clouds in the half-dock are endless, a pool of bright moon fishing without a trace. If I can be buried in this bright moon pond after I die, it won't be in vain. The poem that Ning Fan recited casually was elegant, refined, open-minded, and extraordinary, which made Lan Mei secretly surprised. She was surprised that the usually frivolous Ning Fan turned out to be a magnanimous person, but how could a plucking evil cultivator be an elegant person? It would be better if Ning Fan didn't cultivate the dual cultivation evil technique. However, Ning Fan didn't have the time to be serious and smiled at Lan Mei. Say, if I'm buried in this pond after I die, will you still come here to bathe? To accompany my corpse to relieve your boredom? Bah! Dream on. You still want to take advantage of me after you die? Don't even think about it. Lan Mei revealed an embarrassed expression. Sure enough, it was Ning Fan. He was indeed Ning Fan. Every 3 sentences, he wouldn't talk about the matters between men and women. But when she thought of Ning Fan's question, she revealed a rare trace of seriousness. If you're buried in this bright moon pond after you die, I will die with you in this pond. Ning Fan's heart shuddered as soon as she said this. There was no longer a trace of teasing in his eyes, it turned into a slight sigh. These words were too sentimental and full of deep meaning. Lan Mei seemed to have fallen in love with him. I won't die. I haven't lived enough. Under the moonlight, Ning Fan's icy light flashed as he flew from the surface of the lake to Lan Mei, revealing a smile that was as gentle as the spring breeze. I won't die. This sentence made Lan Mei feel unprecedentedly relieved. It wasn't a beautiful vow, but a comforting sentence from a young man. You must remember, I won't leave before the purple sandalwood is destroyed. I won't die as long as the heaven doesn't fall. You must remember, beside the bright moon pond, under the dark clouds, white clothes and black snow, smiling like the fleeting years. The scene quieted down, but what broke the warmth was Ning Fan's teasing again. Let me help you. Don't worry, it won't hurt, and it will be very comfortable. What did you say? Don't tell me it's here. Lan Mei seemed to have heard something terrifying, but her heart was filled with anticipation for the first time. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.